Brandon, welcome back to another chat conversations here, countercultural conversations. Good to see you.
Good to see you again, Mark.
Lots of things happening in the world, as
Yeah,
as always. What are you thinking about, and what are you seeing from your perspective?
I'm laughing at Palantir right now, dude.
Oh,
It's like
it is
you don't
wild.
you want to shrink government, you want make America great again, and your guy just literally rolled in Big Brother times 10.
Yeah, and I'm not laughing at Pound again. I used to kind of be there. I'm not laughing at Palantir as much as I'm laughing at the people that are supporting Trump as much. Like, what's
That's
up?
what I'm saying. At this point, it's like it's
Like, how
okay.
can you be more obvious?
Well, yeah, there was a scale saying there's like the bull in the China shop where they're still defending
Yeah.
him. There's nothing. I can't admit that I'm wrong. Blah blah. Yeah, the ones that are kind of like, I don't know, but I'm just gonna be quiet because I'm embarrassed. And then you have
Yeah.
the other side that's kind of like, this is not what I voted for. Blah blah blah. Like it's gone down into three scales, and I hate to say it, dude, but the funneling on for his group, it's coming to a head, and I think
What do you
that's
mean by
good.
that?
Well, like you said, some people, in a sense, are waking up, but I think they're not waking up in the sense that we know we need to be independent. It's more of we're waking up as in, why does it every time I go with one side, I feel like I get B slapped into the other direction, and then I go to that side and they B slap me back
It's
into
like
the other
you're
direction.
like a ping pong. We're like ping pong balls.
Yeah, and it's getting to the point where it's like I don't like going to mom's house and I don't like going to dad's house. Well, who do you want to go with? Is there a third option? No. And
Yeah.
that's where we anarchist libertarians Christians we're over here advocating. Hey, you want to join the rebellion, kid?
Yeah, get it. At least come out of the freaking psyop storm, and
Right,
get in some
right.
shelter. I mean, but everyone wakes up at their own time in their own way, and the ones that are deeper asleep, deeper into the matrix, so to speak, they're it's difficult to watch them after you wake up. I sometimes think about people in the 80s or 90s who were awake and aware of all the bullshit there, and I'm like,
Yeah.
dude, how do you how I want to it's
Well,
crazy.
it's like they were awake to a certain extent, but then it's kind of like a hippies. But now we have like new age as the new hippies,
Good point.
as the substitute. It's like it's what 50 years, if that, roughly
Yeah,
50 years. It's been rebooted.
good
Um,
point.
and some people, it's like I don't know, man. As opposed to doing psychedelics, they're trying to do meditation, or they're trying to find, oh, I did a Ouija board thing and I found God, and whatever.
Yeah,
It's like okay, no, that's not
they're
what we
looking in all
do.
the wrong places, in other words.
Right, it's like a
Yeah.
jigsaw puzzle, but as opposed to, again, like Christ was saying, it's simple. My burden is light, but the path gets narrow, and you're going to get worn out. You're going to get downtrodden. You're going to be hated the closer you actually are to emulating the word and doing the word. That's
Hmm.
when people are really going to hate you, because then they have nothing evil to say of you, because you actually live what you say. In
Yeah.
contrast, the world is over here going, well, this side could fix it. But they're imposing that side on the other half. Yeah, but we're the good side. Oh boy. Um,
Yeah, and then it's just a dog chasing its tail or a cat
right.
chasing its tail, around and around. Here we go again.
It's a
It's like
merry-go-round. It's a political
merry-go-round.
merry-go-round, and you're never getting off this ride unless you start saying, you know what, there's a different ride I want to go on.
Yeah.
And hey, sometimes you might have to do a duck and roll, but
You
tuck and
do
roll.
that's exactly what I did.
Yeah,
That's
but
what it feels like. Like I'm getting off the train now, whether
right,
you still slow it down or not. You
right.
did tuck
And
and roll.
whether that maybe the velocity is too much for you and it scares you from doing it, but you have to do it because, again, let's say it's been hijacked, and it just keeps going faster and faster and
Yeah.
faster. You
Yeah.
got to get off. You got to get off. And sadly, I think what's happened is people have fallen into capsules of political identity. And while they
Mhm.
keep pointing fingers saying it's that side, and the other side saying, no, you're just being fascist, the other side saying, no, you're being woke, both sides are correct. The
Yeah.
downside is they're not helping each other break that. They keep stereotyping and throwing more rocks, more rocks, more rocks, and both sides keep getting taller and taller. They're building castles as opposed to
Yeah.
bridges.
Yeah.
That's the
Yeah.
problem. And because you're so adamant about your adjective defense, you're not willing to see the humanitarian connection.
No, and they're not willing to see how alike they are to the other side, you
Hmm.
know?
And sadly, a lot of people are starting to lose themselves
Yes.
in just the aspect of being humane, being
Yes.
decent.
They're losing their minds. And as the psyop
Government means mind
machine,
control. Yeah, dude. It like there's MK
right.
Ultra for specified needs like upgrades, but
Yeah.
government in essence is saying you have to rely on me. You have
Right.
to
And that
depend
they're
on
just
me.
captured that attention. It's so
Recite your
difficult.
incantation, your pledge to the state. Go to your voting booth, be part of a mystical ritual. We're gonna have
Yeah,
blood sacrifices on the fields of battle. Like it's sad, dude. And
it
when you
is.
start telling this to some people, they're all over here like, oh, people died and they're defending
Yeah.
your liberties and freedom. I didn't ask them to pick up a gun for me. And
Yeah.
we have two moats on each side of my country. Statistically speaking, it's impossible to breach. Even the whole thing of 9/11, you want to argue that. We usually have air
Yeah.
defense. That was the one day we didn't. So look into that.
Yeah.
You
Yeah.
know,
It's very similar to that event in Israel in
uh,
2023.
yeah.
Had so much similarities.
And well, that's what they called it. It's our 9/11.
Yeah.
You did it
Yeah.
to yourselves. And
Yeah.
again, that's not me. That's their own press saying it. They
Yeah.
have come forward and said. There was one intelligence guy. I think he got the boot because he even said it. He
I'm
admitted it.
sure. Yeah. There's got to be people. Yeah, it's interesting. Well, yeah, it's heightening up. I'm hoping that it's spinning people off and waking them up, but I think the bigger problem is like what you were saying about people living in these like capsules and they're being manipulated. Unless people have gone off and, thought on their set, come up with thoughts on their own, do a lot of reading, do a lot of, sitting and contemplating and meditation type practices, unless you go to your cave, so to speak, and find who you are. But if people are so focused on the television or sports or movies, I don't think it's ever going to happen for them because they haven't drawn their power back to their being yet. That's what I see. And it's
Well,
available for all of us.
to an extent, I think when we say meditate, we have to be cautious because a lot of people are saying like, finally,
Right.
no. But there is a point where you just stated you're so
Yeah.
busy hearing everybody else talk, you can't hear yourself think. And as you were saying pre-show, it's kind of getting to that point. Is sometimes I need a moment for
Yeah.
rest, for
The
us.
silence.
I need to go out and just do a walkabout. I think it's an
Yeah.
Aboriginal term. Is that sometimes you need to just go around,
Yeah.
try to find all the places, try to find who you are in this world.
Yeah.
And I think due to the lack of discipleship and discipline, and the other hand, hand in hand, and due to the fact that everybody is dependent, like a codependent status Stockholm syndrome,
Yeah.
they don't know how to think for themselves. And on
No.
top of that,
No.
you broke the nuclear family, so nobody's there to mentor you. So
Yeah.
you're floundering around and you're told to go run in the rat race. And again, that's speaking for myself. That
Yeah.
was not healthy for me. That was one of the worst things you could have done because that sent me into a huge depression
Yeah.
spiral of
It does most people. They just medicate to get through
right. Or
it.
they go to and I'm not saying therapy's bad. The
Right.
downside
But
is
they
like I
they
said,
find a way. Yeah.
therapists rose into prominence when real friends started to dissipate.
Yeah. Yeah. Well,
And
like you said, when you break the nuclear family and you break
yeah,
friendships, you all of a sudden need I thought it was super sketch that BetterHelp came on the scene right around the time COVID happened. Like, tell me there's not some funny business going on there.
well, it's even the aspect of psychology, psyche, named after Psyche, the goddess
Hmm.
of, and I'm not saying psychology is bad, the aspect, or even wisdom, philosophy. It's
Hmm.
the love of wisdom. But what does the Bible say? The fear of the Lord is beginning of wisdom.
Yeah.
Trying to find out your mind, maybe it's not mental issues, maybe it's demonic, presence. And because you're not
Yep.
taking a moment to read God's word or have God's word read you, right?
Hmm.
That's the
Yeah.
thing. It's like, that's a nice story, but did you
That's
make it
classic.
applicational? Right. And that's where it means in the Bible, Selah in the Psalms and Proverbs is sometimes just sit, think about what I just said. That's
Yeah.
important. Verily, verily, truly, truly. Like these are the phrases. Think about it. Don't just, oh wow, I read it. Did you retain what it means? Because
Hmm.
you can say a lot. A lot of people talk all day long, but they have no meaning behind their words,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah, but well, and you bring up a good point. Yeah, I'm digging deep into uh back to psychology, Freud, Bernays, Netflix, all of the, there's some sketchy, and who, and I'm also digging deep into, again, to share this information because I know more connecting of dots will help people wake up. And when they see, the Aaron Russo clip about talking about feminism, and when they see Gloria Steinem talking about her relationship with the CIA, I mean, some people, we all need to see more of that. Like, hey,
Right.
if they're lying to you in 99 areas, why not just assume they're like, I mean,
Why
so
not just assume a full 100?
I mean, like I think back to what you're saying, I think the whole Freud thing and all these psychoanalysis are just another way to lead people away from from biblical teaching,
Right.
and from truth. Could.
Well, again, thy word is a lamp unto my feet. The thing is, we don't want the lamp. We want to
Yeah.
look, I'll find the inner light within myself, or, Satan, he disguises himself as an angel of light, look to me
Yeah.
and I'll give you light. I'll give you a pass. And it's like, no, no, I don't.
Yeah.
I think I'm good.
Yeah. You can sense when it's wrong.
Well, you should be, but the
Hopefully. Well, some
problem is
people, I
because
mean,
most,
ideally, yeah.
well, yeah, well, ideally, but most people don't even want to anything, dude.
No,
Nobody wants to pick up a book anymore. Nobody
no,
wants to read the Bible.
no.
And again, some of the stuff I have today. When I was doing a show, I was chuckling because one of the comments I got down below is saying libertarians are basically Satanists anyway.
Hmm.
His
Wow.
logic, his logic, because it's basically the premise of just do as thou wilt.
Yes.
Okay,
I've heard that before
fair.
associated with Satanism. Yeah.
However, grain of salt, as a libertarian, and again, we need to define this because the sentiment, I believe, is fine. The problem is people have tried to encapsulate the premise of the word into a political party. And this is why the
Hmm.
political party never gets any movement because it is based on the individualism agora. Now, agora means I have opposing views, but we're going to come into a circle and chit chat about them, debate, reason, right?
Mhm.
We're going to hammer it out, right? Iron sharpens iron. The thing is, if you put your mentality into a political party, eventually you want to enforce your ideologies upon someone else. In contrast, libertarianism is focusing on individualism. And hopefully, what I live, preach, and say influences you to want to follow in the steps that I take. As for me and my house, we will serve the Lord, as Joshua said, right? You guys want to go serve the gods on the other side of the river Euphrates as your forefathers did? Go on ahead. Not
Mhm.
me. I'm taking a stand, and this is the way it's going to be run. That is what it should be, because you're not going to go to your neighbor's house and say, you accept Christ, or I'm going to, no.
Yeah.
It's the influence of saying, you you are taking the personal responsibility to pick up your cross, your baggage, whatever it is, and say, I'm gonna do this. Why? Because it starts with me. See, suddenly personal responsibility, that's not Satanism.
Mm.
Satanism says, I don't want you to take responsibility. Live, eat, drink, be merry. Go
Yep.
ahead, play the field, do all this stuff. Take
Have
your
fun.
time. Don't worry
Mhm.
about it. Procrastinate. Fill in the blank with all this stuff. Individualism or libertarian is saying, you know what? I want to do all that stuff, but tonight I'm going to read a book. I want to go out and party and do all the, do drugs and but I can't do that because I'm going to have a family someday and I don't want to have a record in prison or lose
Mhm.
years of my life. That is where I look at some people because they throw, oh, you guys are just a laughing stock and you never get anything together, blah, blah, blah. As opposed to trying to say, I want to understand this better. Just one word.
Yeah.
One word. Try to dig, try to see, but we put a presupposition stereotype. It's impulsive and it's just boom, zoom, that's it. As opposed to coming to try to find a middle ground, which I think is kind of where we come from is I've
Yeah.
heard your side, heard that side. I'm now in the center. Thank you very
Yeah.
much.
Yeah. Well, and I think that's what they started doing that during COVID. See, this is interesting.
Mm,
You can see their time. Remember the Jimmy Dore clip when he makes fun of oh, it's doing your own research used to be called reading, and questioning. I mean, this is what was so stupid about COVID. And as the what do you call it? The dust settles, people look back, and I hope everyone's going, I was always told to no, there's no dumb questions. I was always told I could take as much time as I want to make up my mind. But in COVID, that was off the table, and it's a rush thing. And that's why I've made many shorts and pushed out there. I probably should say it every day. If they ever use fear or rushing, you're getting screwed, because you never should be fearful. You make it to make an informed decision, because it shuts down the brain. And also
Mhm.
rushing, you got to move fast. Okay, you got to move fast. A-holes. I really do not like them for that. And they really, that's if I could say one message over and over again: if they rush you or make you fearful, they are not your friends, and they're doing you a disservice. And then when we talk about, and we've talked about this before, Hegelian dialectic, you
Mhm.
know, psyop type of stuff, if they repeat back to the advertising Bernays thing, repeating it over and over and over and over again. It's classic mind control, you know.
Well, you then become dependent upon it. And I was just reading something prior to this. Apparently, the guy wrote a book, so now I kind of want to pick it up. But he was
Mhm.
like, it is a clinical illness. People,
Yeah,
they don't seem to realize is that, well,
the
hold on,
trauma bond,
let's
from
read it
what
for
it is.
crying
Yeah,
out loud. Why not? Why not? We got
yeah.
nothing better to do. That's what we do here. He wrote, and this is Sterlin Lujan, and that's Sterlinlujan. And he wrote, every facet of statism is psychology problematic. Flag worship, patriotic obedience to authority, politicking, and love of land masses all verge on insanity. People living in this matrix of delusion do not recognize it as such. For them, it is a fixture of their lives. It is a silent cult. This manifestation of ritual statism is so deeply embedded into people's minds that they do not suspect anything is wrong. They are clinically ill, but do not recognize it because they have adopted the shared madness of the patriotic fervor.
Wow. Now, do you know anything about that guy's story or history? Do you know who he is, or
Um,
just to give us
I
context?
just I have his a book in my Amazon cart whenever I get money for it. I
Yeah,
I wait on donations just for this sort of
yeah,
thing, folks, because that's good stuff.
yeah.
But he wrote a book, Dignity and Decency: Rhapsody Musings of a Modern Anarchist.
Hmm.
So I'm not sure if
That's a
Rhapsody
great idea that he
classifying it
shared.
from music or
Yeah. But
um
but, but I like that so they've adopted this. Yeah, they've adopted the persona. And what happens, I think, if they play that role too long, they don't know who they really are, and or they forget who they were before. That's why I like to talk about you know, who were you before life degeniused you? Going back to the little kid mentality of, hey, you know, I'm
right.
not
What forged
corrupted.
you?
Yeah, well, yeah, because when we put these kids into public education system, they're full of wonder and questions and all the shizzle. Then you put them in a desk, you're going to sit here for 6 hours a day and don't move. And you raise
Yeah,
your hand to go to the bathroom, and you can start the indoctrination. And the kids know it's wrong, but they're like, well, my mom and dad brought me here, so I guess it's sad.
it's grooming.
It's grooming. Yeah. They're
It is
pretending they're,
grooming you
you
into
know,
statism and
yeah.
losing the idea. Like again, I chuckle because my aunt, who was a teacher for what 30, 40 something odd years, she was saying, well, I don't know why your brother and your sister-in-law are homeschooling their kids, blah blah blah, and they don't get any socialization. I'm like, well, I turned out okay. I mean, GED, college, and I'm fairly up to date. I can talk. I'm not looking down the whole time.
Were you homeschooled the whole time?
Up to
Or,
second grade, and then up to six, and then from six, I just took my GED. So I am
oh,
6 years
really?
ming of grades. So when I was
Interesting.
doing a show
Okay. Yeah, I didn't know
with
that.
Cliff, I was like, dude, you went to 10th? I was like, I only went to six. You're smarter than me if
Whoa,
you're
I guess I didn't know that.
going by the official, oh, you went through all the grades and stuff,
So
Um,
your aunt was referring to
well,
the.
she's referring to my nieces and nephews, but the thing is, I have my own beefs with them, but she was teaching them cooking at like 5 or 6 years old in the kitchen.
Hmm.
They're learning home economics. They're learning to become self-sufficient. They're learning how to play the guitar. And like
Yeah.
again, they're making them involved with this is dad's hobby, wrestling, jujitsu. They're doing
Yeah.
hands-on stuff as opposed to, oh, I don't know. When I get out in the world, what am I gonna do?
Yeah.
You're in
Yeah.
panic mode
Yeah.
because nobody kind of grounded you with what, like my dad, he used to say like, oh, I'll show you how to do something with the car and blah 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 blah. Never did.
Really.
Tell me how to do, taxes. Never learned it till I went to college, and it was kind of like, oh, learn on the fly sort of thing.
Yeah.
It, it made me laugh, dude, because she's over here saying this is a bad thing. I'm like, if anything, I kind of envy them because this is what you should be doing.
Yeah.
I'm not advocating to put a gun in their hands and stuff like that, but unless under very safe restrictions and stuff like that. But what I am saying is that you're building the confidence when they're young.
Yeah.
By the time they do get out in the world, or by the time like a decision needs to be made, they're quick. And I'm not saying quick as in they think fast, but they're able to make it on a split second if it's an emergency. They're not in panic mode. Build and solidify some sort of confidence foundation so that they at least say, okay, if that was a mistake, I can own it, but you
Yeah.
can evolve from that. Respect your elders. Because if all the elders were teaching a kid something, you know, and I'm saying
Yeah. Yeah.
I'm not saying go around and talk to every Greek, don't talk to creep. What I'm
Right. But
saying is that
still.
sometimes somebody else can actually be a really cool mentor because in your own home you don't see something or think something. So it's
Yeah.
sometimes good to send it out to the guys like, oh, I never thought like that. And that's why they hated Socrates. Because he's over here saying, I've been asking them why they didn't have answers. Let me teach you how to do this. Stop it.
Yeah.
No,
No
they're going to ask
thinking.
us questions and they're going to try to topple all of us because you're ruining the youth of Greece. I'm just saying.
Yeah.
Ask them why they believe the things they believe and why they do the things they do. This is problematic.
Hmm.
Still the
Yeah.
same thing today, dude. It's the same thing.
Well, I think it's, I don't know how it was back then, but it feels, even in the last 10, definitely the last 5 years, but even in 10 years, I mean, when you see people just constantly absorbing, and I don't know. See, we don't know what they're using the phone for. Are they watching cat videos? Or are
Yeah.
they researching? I mean, because it's just a tool, right? You can read some books that can warp your mind, or you can read some books that will expand your mind. So I don't know what they're watching on there, but clearly, I think the overall thought process power collectively is on the downward. I don't know.
I think it's on the downward, but I also do see some in the younger generation.
Yeah.
And again, it's kind of like the gangs of Chicago. People are looking to connect to something. It's not, and I'm not. I'm going to give a little grace and an olive branch here. But I think some people, they're genuinely looking for a purpose. They're genuinely looking for community, and this is what makes them susceptible and gullible. And I don't say
Hmm.
this as like trying to be demeaning. Some of them, yes, but they're susceptible to joining something, an organization, a political party, a new age thing, or whatever. And it becomes, I want to find out who I am, so I just want to join a collective because that takes away the responsibility of trying to discover who that is in here. And because we've
Yes.
already destroyed the nuclear home of not necessarily giving everything on a silver platter to the kid, but if you, again, like I said to my buddy, your daughter is very good with tools and they got her tool set, she's freaking phenomenal. She takes things apart, puts them together. I said she's probably gonna be a mechanic or something in that field. I'm just saying.
Hmm.
I see the other one. I said she's probably going to do something in athletics. I remember I went over to my one of my other sister's houses, and I said about my nephew. I said you probably would do best if you enrolled him in some sort of martial arts. She's like, why? I says he's got a lot of energy. He's a little bit too wild, but if you
Hmm.
honed it in, I think he could be a freaking menace. Observe something you see in someone and
Yeah.
cultivate it. If you see them
Yeah.
tinkering around a piano, give him a couple lessons for a couple months. You might tap into something and he'll be able to provide for your retirement. And, by being a professional piano player or musician, you meet somebody again. Then you have that, was it, is it 36 inches degree of everybody knows everybody?
Oh, 6 degrees of separation.
6 degrees, sorry, 6 degrees. Sorry. But yeah, six
Yeah.
degrees of separation. You bump into somebody that knows somebody, and then now, granted, don't join the cult, please don't.
Right.
But
But
there, what I'm saying? You network social equity. You network to the point of getting to a point where you want to be.
yeah.
But you have to find out what is the gift that God gave me? I don't need to join a party. I don't need to do all of that. And again, this is why the Amish, they rock, because I'll teach you a trade.
Yeah.
You want to leave this
Useful
community,
trade that will
you go
always
out.
serve you.
Yeah,
Yeah.
if you want to leave this community, go out in the world, go for it too.
Yeah.
Granted, I'll be sad, but the
But it's your
option
life.
is on the table.
Yeah.
You know, and
Yeah.
that's I think that's part of the problem. This is what I was noticing with the pastor at the church before he left, is that when I went over to his house one time, all of his kids, dude, nose was in the phone or nose was on a screen playing a video game.
Wow.
And I was chuckling because again, I'm not expecting them all to be like Bible nuts. Everybody, oh, we just read the word 24/7 because we love to live in it. But when dad and mom aren't here, that's what you do. When you don't want to have a discussion at church, you look down at your phone. It's childish.
It
It's
is.
childish.
It's a binky, like we talked about before. It's a
Yeah,
pacifier. And
yes,
I'm
it's a
guilty too
digital binky.
sometimes, you know.
Well,
But it
it's
does,
it's
yeah.
it's not bad in the sense that I understand, but there comes a certain point. The beauty of flirtation,
Mm-hmm.
it's nullified. The beauty of banter, it's gone. The beauty of wit, it's dissipating.
Yeah.
These are aspects of when, again, I've been in relationships and it's loved. It's loved when you're able to bring that out because it's like, wow, what it's like, yes, I observe this. I notice this about you.
Mm-hmm.
Don't just hide a little conclave of your phone and try to hide who you are behind a digital mask like an avatar, right? I want
Mm-hmm.
to know you. I don't like online dating. I don't like all this
Me
stuff
neither.
because we're putting up filters, artificial intelligence. You're becoming artificial, superficial. I don't want that with anybody in society. I want the real you. I want to talk about real things, like I said before, my buddy Jack. When I do speak of that, that offends you. If this is the world forging for my generation, I want none of it. Well, man,
Yeah.
you're young and you have your whole life ahead of you. If Palantir is my future and this is my peers,
Yeah.
excuse me, no thank you. Where do I check out? I don't want.
Yeah.
I'm clocking out. I'm hitting the punch card. I'm done. This is
It's too weird and sinister. Yeah, it's all bizarre. Bizarre. Yeah, yeah, I do. I think it comes back to, if you don't use it, you lose it. And if you're not, thinking about things and rolling ideas around in your mind and like we talked about before, knowing yourself, knowing your enemy, even thinking that there is an enemy, even believing there is an enemy, I don't know. I mean, but if you didn't, I think the people that didn't get caught up in the BS in over the last 5 years, they're the ones that were kind of off in their own world doing their own thing. I stopped listening to government hardcore like 20 years ago. I've dropped back in a little bit here and there. Uh, but very rarely, because I realized back then, I'm like, you guys have nothing to offer me. You're just a
right.
constant spin machine and you're a waste of my time. And you nailed it a few weeks ago. If you don't have a purpose, you're a pawn in another man's game. Everyone listening to the government and the media is a pawn in their game, and some don't even know it. Most don't know it, or else they wouldn't listen. You know?
I wouldn't listen, but that's again the modern soothsayer is a political pundit,
Yeah, it's
and
wild.
they're almost promoting like an interfaith thing, and this is sad, and I think this is what you and I are starting to experience. It's creeping into the podcasting community. Is there's a lot of charlatans and shills
Yes.
and
Yes.
sensationalist hopium grifters. They're telling you what you want to hear. They're putting out random stuff and they have no factual evidence for it, or they're pushing you further into your little circle in your covens. They're pushing
Yeah.
you further, and at the same time, simultaneously, they're throwing in buy this person's book.
Yeah.
It's almost like an interfaith. And again, interfaith means dead faith. Faith without works is
Mm.
dead. But again, that's what I'm saying. You're not working, but they're promoting an interfaith religion, internet. Like we just merge all of them together, and we'll respect our. Again, there is talking for the sake of. I'm just curious of hearing what you have to say, but then there's. I think I think that's even what I'm starting to notice is that we do have to start putting up guardrails and restrictions for certain individuals because I think what Paul was phrasing it as is that they're causing divisions amongst us
Yeah.
ever so subtly by letting them have a mouth to speak. They're starting to, it's kind of like grabbing that little thread, that little annoying piece of cloth or whatever when you're wearing a
Hmm.
shirt or something. When you tug on it, oh crap! I just caused a hole in my shirt.
Yeah.
You have to cut it with scissors, and or you have to be very, very succinct with how you snip at it, because if you
Hmm.
don't, you start unraveling. And I think unraveling in the spiritual sense is what happens, was when you let a wheat and a tare intermingle, it starts to unwind all the growth that's been happening. And I think that's kind of where a lot of us are at. We're starting to feel the, what do you got, the choking of the weeds around
Mm.
us.
Yeah. Yeah.
And it's by
Or
either
getting
people.
yeah,
Go
go
ahead, go
ahead.
ahead.
Or getting exhausted trying to, push through the weeds.
It's anxiety, it's tension, it's competitive. And
Yeah.
I don't think competitive is always a good thing. In the sense is that you start building what do you call it, somewhat of a narcissistic complex, that it's all about me, or I'm the only one that can do that.
Mm.
And as opposed to the other one, it says whoever is the least amongst you, greater. This
Mhm.
is the mentality we should have, is I'm good. I strive to be the best, but the only best that there is Christ, right? This is
Yeah.
this is the concept that it should be. But sadly, what we're starting to see is that people are putting out these reels. They're putting out, another conspiracy theory, another this, but they never, the reels, they never reel you to the truth. They never ground you to what you're
Mm.
supposed to be looking to for the answer. It's just another conspiracy, another log on the pile. When does it end? When does it stop? Whereas
Yeah.
I'm over here going, it'll stop soon because he's returning.
Hmm.
I have confidence in this. And the irony is, dude, I'll see comments where people saying, "Oh, you do Dramatia branding, you look at all this stuff with the cult and blah, blah, blah." Yeah, because your freaking pastor who's too timid and only
Yeah.
cares about his throne, aka the
He
pulpit.
doesn't want to offend people.
He doesn't want to offend.
Hmm.
Feminist Christianity, sure. Corporate Christianity, sure. But when it comes to real things, oh no, no, we got our rapture. Don't worry about it. Keep giving me your 10%.
Yeah.
What? Shame on
Yeah.
you. And then somebody like me, I'm going to tell you what you don't want to hear. And I'm not saying I'm a practitioner. I'm not saying I look into this thing as an endorsement. I'm simply saying, kind of odd that these people look to all these things. And we're seeing dots connecting aligned with this in our modern day society. Does that make sense to you?
Yeah.
Just overthinking it. You're paranoid. You're a nerd. You know what? You know what? As you just said, wheat and tares. This is where I
Mhm.
have to say, you want things of this world? You want
Yeah.
to eat the adder's dust that was condemned, that he's going to eat dust for the rest of his days' life? You want to build your house upon the sand? Well, then here's my sandals. Enjoy your
Yeah.
sandbox. And
Yeah.
what are
That's
you
what you have
doing
to
with
do.
that? I'm saying, God, I'm marking this area. Let them bury themselves. Let the dead bury the dead.
Yeah.
That is what I'm about to say right here and now, is I have no more time
Yeah.
you, because you have no more time for him. And the reason I know you don't have time for him is because you don't accept me. And I am trying to tell you truth. I'm trying to share with you fellowship. And you don't want that.
Yeah.
So I think the fake, the wheat and the tares, the sheep and the goats, it's not saying goats are evil. And again, like my buddy's saying, so you're saying pine cones are evil? Because I was connecting with the pineal gland thing with all my stuff. He says, no, buddy, but there's an inversion going on here.
Hmm.
There's a distinction that needs to be clarified of us and them, and a saint means to be set apart. I'm not
Yeah.
identified or affiliated with any of that. The political parties, with your political pundits, with anything else going on in the society, your denomination, demoninations. I'm not affiliated with any of that. I just want Christ and I want fellowship with fellow ecclesia. Is it that much that I'm asking? No,
No.
no.
Wow. Amen to that, Brandon. That's you nailed it. You nailed it. It comes to that point where it's like, okay, and I think what really resonated with me was when you say, I've told you the word. I didn't make it up. I'm just relaying the word to you, and you're bent out of shape about it. That tells me my work here is done. Because if you tell the word to someone who is open and receptive and they go, tell me more, then my work here is not done. But again, you nailed it, Brandon. That is exactly what has to be. I've planted the seed. You may realize, you may remember something that I've said, speaking in, maybe if I can be so bold, my words a year from now, 2 years from now, 4 years from now. But again, it's not me, it's the word. So here you go, take it. You're not ready for it yet, and I'm not ready for you then. Yeah, you have to
and
move on.
and that's the parable of the sower. Some
Mhm.
will I'll throw it on the rocky, so it don't do nothing. I'll throw it on the thorns, they'll just choke it out. But then I'll throw something in the good soil. If it resonates, cool. But this also goes into when Christ was talking to the Pharisees. He said, if you were really in the logos, the word, you would understand who I am. But since you're not,
Mhm.
you're not going to understand what I'm emitting and not admitting towards you, because he says the light, right? And I think it's John 8 what I'm citing here, paraphrasing, forgive me if I'm wrong. But that's kind of what he's indicating, is saying if you understood the word, you were living the word, you know who I am, you would understand my message. And for the love of all things that are good and holy, and I say that with all reverence, people, he spoke in parables 80, 90%. I don't know if we want to do his stats. How often did Christ speak in parables? Never directly. When he did do it directly, a lot of times he was using some very strong language to condemn
Mhm.
people. But when he used parables, why? I want you to think about what I said. Because a parable could be applicational, because you're like, I can relate to that. I can imagine that. Yeah, I don't want you to understand the mind of God. I want you to understand just basics, the golden rule, right? And this is an aspect, an element of a daily life of somebody you may or may not know, that I want to see if you understand what I'm saying through all of that. Can you implement this?
Yeah.
Master, what did you mean by this? Think about it. Think about it. And sometimes, in order to get it, you have to ask the Holy Spirit, you know what? Holy
Yeah.
Spirit, discernment, help me stay apart, help my mind stay apart from the horned one, as we've broken that etymology down before. Help me understand your word, that I may not sin against God. It's not that hard.
Mhm.
Well, we do Kabbalah, traditions of men, and we say, you know what? I think I got it. I'll make it
Yeah.
up.
Yeah.
I'll make it up because you're too hard to follow, so I'll make you palatable. I'll break you down into my image. Okay, well, no wonder you don't like Christians. You don't like truthers. You don't like conspiracy. Again, I'm saying the good conspiracy theorists are doing it for the right reasons.
Right.
No wonder you don't like them, because they make you think.
Yeah.
And part of thinking is talking, but talking the truth. And what does Christ do on his trial, dude? He's silent. Why? My words will have no meaning here. I
Yeah.
pity everyone in this room. Father, forgive them. They know not what they do. There's nothing more I can say. There's nothing more I can do. They've had 3 years with me and they didn't get it. It's going to lead to this point. It has to happen anyway. It's inevitable. But Father, it's okay because this is your will. I mean, wow, folks. Just
Yeah. Well, yeah, and what I also think is, I think, I don't know, I don't think I've ever been like this, because I've kind of been on this truth path for a long time. Like, somehow I want to know the truth. Now, whether I'm going to act on it, but at least I'm going to take it. But I think some people, depending on how deeply entrenched they are and how indoctrinated they are, they will be repulsed by the truth, and they won't accept it. They'll hear it a number of times, and I guess I'm there too, depending on the thing. You hear it a number of times, but you're like, no, that can't be, that can't be, that can't be. But then finally, it's like, no, it is. I don't know. I mean, I think I have been there too. It's just, because I see this with people, you tell them, or you try to make them see, but we hold on, we have tendency to hold on to false beliefs.
I think I think that's part of the premise of I die to self daily. This is a
Yeah.
guy, Paul, who once he got it was giving so much context and clarity, writing all these letters over like I think 20 something year span of time, roughly. I have a book, Untold Story of the New Testament by Frank Viola. Wonderful, because it finally okay, when I'm reading the Bible and I'm going to read this, oh, this was written before this book. Okay, and it gives
Mm,
context and clarity. What's going on historically? What's the map look like? What's the incidents that are going on around here that's affecting this scenario that I'm reading in the Bible? And even he, a leader of the faith, is saying, "I die to self daily." It's not going to be a snap of a finger. It's not going to be overnight. It's not going to be okay, only 1 month and then I'm good to go. No, this is
yeah,
when you
we're committed.
commit, this is a lifelong commitment. Hence why it is called a marriage. Hence why we get a marriage feast, because we have been submitting to our groom with our loyalty of saying, you know what? Yeah, this if I want to take on the family name of joining the kingdom of heaven, I'm going to have to make this personal. The logos is going to be me. If the presence of God wants to indwell me as his temple, so be it. But it's not about finding him within, it's submitting to him. In submission, how hard that is. And I'm not
Hmm.
saying, even in a marriage, dude, there was a Hawaiian pastor, I was listening to his thing online. Says, you want to find out how selfish you are, get married.
I've heard that.
And it's true, because it's like, you know what? Sometimes in a marriage, you need to break yourself down, right? Because we put up these walls and these barriers, but the premise is, okay, we're getting married, we're going to both break down each other's walls, and we're going to build it back stronger together
Hmm.
by putting all of our bricks together so we are aligned. Is that going to happen overnight? Well, Rome wasn't built in a day. Exactly. It's going to
Yeah.
take time and refining. But that's the beauty of it, is when you actually submit, you're like, this is actually not so bad. It's fun. I enjoy being doing this with you, and I enjoy doing it with you. And I love being
Hmm.
your provider, your protector, and doing all these things. This is what it should be. Whereas, again, what have we done now with God? He's no longer a groom with Christ, you know? Now he's oppressive, he's a tyrant, he's got all these restrictions and guardrails. When in actuality, it's no. This is part of a contract.
Hmm.
I want to lead. I want to do what a god is supposed to do. But you need to come and meet me halfway. Now, again, when we read that Prometheus guy's comment before, it's not about coming to meet God halfway through politics or, no, it's about doing it individually, right?
Hmm.
But I can't be a good husband or spouse unless I'm first looking to him, because I can't do anything for her. And likewise for her, if she's going to be literally submissive, not like, I have to be a tech billionaire and get a suit and all this stuff. No, I just want simple. Simple is fine, and I will revere you and sing your praises in the gates, but you need to submit. It doesn't mean I have to bully you, it just means I lead. Let me do what I'm supposed to do, because otherwise if we let everything go to emotion, it goes into chaos.
Yeah.
A man is supposed to be having a standard, right? The crux, but we let that go because, happy wife, happy life.
Yeah.
What about the man?
Yeah. Well, and I think to that point, you just made me think about. I think that's a lot. That's a lot of the reasons why our society is like. Granted, there's some bright lights too, but it's kind of gotten twisted up so bad is because of the whole feminism movement, and they inverted men and women, and now no one's like, "Are you driving? No, I'm driving. Are you driving? Are you leading? Am I leading?" And it just primed society for made us susceptible to bad actors. Bad ideas.
Right, right. And that's, people are susceptible to following bad ideas, or you seem to know and have everything together, so I'll go follow you.
Yeah.
And I'm not saying that's bad. The downside is once you start following somebody, eventually, don't be surprised when the master, your leader, whoever you're following, turns around and says, now you go forth and do likewise.
Yeah.
Whoa, 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 whoa. I liked
Yeah.
everything you were saying up until that point. I mean, I got a life, I got a family. I can't really do all that. That's a kind of high standard.
Yeah.
You're kind of way smarter and better and articulate than me. And then what are we doing? We're going right back to Moses. Well, God, I can't speak. I'm not good. How is Pharaoh going to listen to me? And he comes up with all these excuses. And he's just like, get your brother Aaron to speak for you. I called you specifically, but if you want a mouthpiece, get your brother. You're still
Mhm.
going, right? We got to stop doing that because we keep wanting to substitute, right? Substitute Antichrist, always fill in the. I keep wanting to substitute something before God. And this is where I've said before, I laugh when people say, "Oh, your followers, oh, you sound like a cultist." No, I, I keep saying, I would prefer all of us started doing a podcast. All of us, again, do something in your local community. Do a Bible study with your local group. Something. Stop solely listening. I don't mind people listening. I think it's great because I think we're doing something that's counter to a lot of other platforms and what they pitch. We're providing solutions and we're suggesting offers of what is an
Mhm.
alternative. I don't want people to follow me for the sake of following me for fill in the blank. I don't even want to know whatever the criteria of what you're expecting of following a content creator. I want you to start doing something yourself.
Yeah.
And apparently, you get mad when I say that. And I said before the show, there was a comment I got from a lady, and it was basically she was she was commenting on a video I just did on the was it parasites, worms, and demons.
I saw some clips. Great stuff.
So she wrote this thing on Spotify saying, "Well, we wrestle not against flesh and blood, but against flesh, spirits, whatever." And I was chuckling because she wrote prior to her comment, "I haven't listened to it all the way yet, but doesn't the Bible say blah 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 blah?"
Mm.
Ends her whole thing with sigh. Now, if you're reading that and you read sigh at the end, you're kind of going, well, what do you mean sigh? Sigh as in
Yeah.
we're not doing good enough. Sigh as in you think we're stupid. Sigh what? And I just said, and I think you're small-minded. Sigh. Now,
Mm.
what did
Yeah.
I mean by that? Because the Bible says, "He who answers a matter before he hears it in its entirety, he is a fool."
Hmm.
Proverbs. Go look it up. And I might be paraphrasing slightly, but give me some grace because there's a lot of translations.
Yeah.
It's true. Before you just told me you're what, 10, 15 minutes in when you wrote this comment? You haven't listened to it all the way. We do address that in the show, but you're prematurely throwing on your analysis assumption on something you haven't even heard all the way through. And then she came onto my YouTube because I got rid of her on Spotify and says, "Oh, you're just immature because you don't like hearing an opinion that's different from yours." And I'm like, no, that had nothing to do with it. I'm tired of people who speak
Yeah.
or they know or speak on things they do not know.
Yeah.
And especially then she was saying, "Oh, because whatever, I shared all your stuff before, I like your content, yada yada yada." And then something to the effect, there's a lot of podcasters out there that are competitively seeking for people to listen to them, and I'm like, so you just missed the whole point of following me.
Yeah. So what's the relevance here, right? Yeah.
Thank you. I just said competitively. You think I'm in this for competition?
Yeah.
Then you haven't learned anything from all my former shows. I gave up everything. I don't have any more F's to give. And I
Yeah.
mean friends, family, and finances. My F's. I got nothing left.
Yeah.
I've given it all for the kingdom of heaven. And I'm bobbing like an apple, hoping for a gracious handout and donation from people.
Hmm.
And you think I'm in this for competition?
Yeah.
Dear lady, you do not understand what I do or why I do it.
Hmm.
And this is what makes me chuckle, dude, because it's making me always think back to when I was taking sensei classes. This is a prime example moment where you're trying to say something to the sensei and and just like, and walk away. I don't have time to talk to you
Hmm.
because you're acting like a child on something you do not know anything about. And I
Yeah.
think that's kind of where we have to start setting standards for ourselves. I'm not going to tolerate that out of my presence. Well, shh. If you want to come and have a respectful dialogue with me, listen to the matter in its entirety, then you speak. And if you're going to get mad when I reply small minded, sigh, yes. I mean small minded as in, listen, basically imagine you go into a store and you're suspecting a robbery's going on through coercion, but you don't see the gun. And you automatically draw your gun because you think the scenario is going down in your mind. And what does it look like on camera? it looks like you're the one doing the robbery all of
Yeah.
a sudden, because the other
Yeah.
one's being smart and saying, listen, he gave you a note, I slipped it across the counter and saying, hey, put the money in the bag, blah, blah, blah. Now, does he look suspicious? Possibly, but a note's a note. You just pulled out a freaking weapon.
Good point.
You see, again, this is what I'm saying. Your tongue is a sword.
Yeah.
You're to know when to sheath it and when to release it, because if you draw it prematurely, you better be able to back yourself up.
Yeah.
Don't be surprised when somebody says, you know what, out of my place. I don't care what you did. I don't care about your intentions. If that's how you're going to act in my establishment or when you're in my area, out. And I hate to say it,
Yep.
lady, this is what dueling was all about.
Well, and that's a tough lesson to learn. She'll think twice before she does something like that again in the future.
Well, you'd think, but most
Yeah.
people, again,
Oh,
they're not going to do that. They're just going to be like,
yeah. Yeah.
go away, go away. And
Yeah.
I just chuckled, dude, because sorry, no, that's all relevant. That was relevant.
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
it's the society we're living in where people think that they can throw a predetermined judgment on somebody before even knowing them. And if that's what you're gonna write, or the other guy is saying, like, you know, Brandy, I don't do gematria. I look up numbers to see what they mean, and then I'm going interesting, and then I'm doing, I do breakdowns. That's it. I'm not like
Mhm.
Tommy Truthful that's like, oh, and there's gonna be an event on this particular day, and you guys need to prepare for that. No, I
Yeah.
don't need to do that. I'm happy of just, you know what? This is what happened. This is what I suspect might happen. And we just need to be on guard. The most important thing, go back to Christ, get in the word, make it applicational. Because if you're not like them, you'll start spotting things quicker.
Yeah. Well, and the other thing that I always think about when people are doing these predictions and this is going to happen and everything, what I just always go back to is, okay, that's all fine and dandy. I'm going to just prepare my house mentally,
Yes.
physically, spiritually. I'm going to make sure all my things, that way I'm always prepared,
Oh
because
yeah, dude,
what's a prudent way to
that's
be?
individualism. That's libertarianism.
Yeah.
You do you, I do me. I myself have been. This is like we were saying with soldiers. I've sharpened my spear. I'm now,
Yeah.
sharpening my sword. It's being whetted on the stone. I'm prepping because it's
Hmm.
better to be a warrior in a garden than a garden and a warrior in the
Yeah.
war, right?
Yeah.
Because you're just like, oh yeah, yeah, because the other person's been refined and skilled. You and I are over here going, the war is on the horizon. We see it for what, like, I see the game and the game it sees me, as I heard in lyrics into a song one time. And I was like, yeah, we are there. And I think, like, I respect your idea for a hiatus because I do get it. I do get it. I'm kind of close to the burning out too. I'm almost thinking
I know you are. Yeah. I mean, we've talked about this. I mean,
end of 26. I'm thinking because I'm trying to go as far as I can, but there's also a certain point where it's like, you know what, guys, I spiritually feel we are really that close,
yeah. I mean,
and
it feels
I'm putting metal to the pet. What was it? Foot. Yeah.
pedal to the metal.
Thank you.
Yeah.
I got so much going on. I can't even enunciate my words correctly. But yes, exactly. I am going to that point because I don't see anybody else doing it. But as we were saying
No.
during our last episode, I can only hold a position for so long. I'm not going to
Yeah,
save
you're human.
everybody. I don't save everybody. I am holding the position. I'm pointing over there and you're going to use your own two little legs to get over there. I can't save you, but
Hmm.
I can help you. Same thing with the sheepdog. All I can do is bite the wolf. You may not like me because I nipped at your heel, but my teeth are going to go down onto the other animal that wants to hurt you.
Yeah.
When it comes, like, I'm going to lethally defend you if need be.
Yeah.
So the master gets over here. If I have to give up my life, sure, that's fine. I don't care about that. But what I'm really upset about it is looking at them going, I've literally put everything on the line for your well-being.
Hmm.
And I'm seeing you just stare and not do. I'm seeing you just stare and consume, consume,
Yeah.
consume. And then sometimes you can, again, can't afford to donate. You can't even hit like. You can't even hit share. Do you suffer from digital arthritis? I mean, for crying out loud, try to get the right message out there. Or literally, like I said before, way when I started this, do a date night. Listen to a podcast, pause and say, I totally disagree with this guy, and this is why. Write it out, like, journaling. Write why you disagree. Write why you agree. Do a sermon on it with a house church thing. Something. But make sure you're always aligning with the Bible. Try to read what the person's recommendations are before just saying, try. Because the problem is, like I said before, we're judging books by its cover because you read about the author and that's it. Try to see what their mindset was. Again, if I could spend an hour in your mind, that's what you're doing
Mhm.
when you're reading,
Yeah.
right? And again, this if you want to know the mind of God, I don't recommend because you just want to know the heart of God. But that's knowing Christ, logos, the Word, everything God's ever thought, said, encapsulated in Christ, the logos, the Word. So if you
Hmm.
want to know the author of creation, the author of everything of life, get in His Word. Well, I don't
Hmm.
want to read his book. Why? Because he didn't sign it. Get in there. You know what I'm saying? Sign it as like no.
Yeah.
It's signed and sealed in blood from Christ. That's all you need. And if you take up that, okay, I understand it is signed and sealed in blood. That means that blood is now taking your name and writing it in the Lamb's book of life
Hmm.
because you were emulating the shepherd's words. You were emulating the Father's will. You were speaking it to everyone else around you. And I'm thinking that's part of the problem. That's part of the problem, Mark, is that people they're not they're not supporting and encouraging the content creators, and we've become the new
Hmm.
pastors by default. Digital pastors, the podcasts have become the new pulpits.
Yeah.
Putting everything on the line. It takes time, it
Well,
takes energy.
yeah.
Go
Well,
ahead.
the other thing that I see is, in a world that there's lots of corruption, lots of deviant behavior, you have certain sites that, young ladies can go and show it all and make a lot of money. And you
Yeah,
got pastors misleading, and you got, sports figures, again, not judging people's path,
yeah,
celebrities misleading. I mean, we're in a world where we're like the dumbest ideas go to the top because it's falsely floated up, and the best ideas are not even talked about. So I
right.
mean, don't feel so bad about that, because I mean, you're up against a whole, I know, this, we're up against a whole
Yes,
media machine that has an agenda to, divert, distract, discourage. So I hear what you're saying, and then people get caught up in that. I mean, that's why you and I talk so extensively about, and then you've done this before in many of your videos, using theater in a way to convey a message, or play a role. And it resonates because that, back to what Plato said, those who tell stories rule the society. And they've ruled us right into, many of us right into the ground, or into the cage, so to speak.
yes. A
So,
cave where we don't know how to reflect because it's so dark.
yeah, yeah, they're squashing out the human spirit.
Yes, and the acting with the Jesuits picked up on that quickly.
Yeah.
It was easier to entertain through a stage as opposed from behind the pulpit. And again, the aspect of parables. I mean, the early church they were kind of a little bit wary of actors because of the Greek influence and stuff like that,
Mhm.
and they were also wary of soldiers and stuff like that with joining the congregation. However, if you're actually aware of what you have to understand your enemy in order to do acting, if you're
Mm,
going to be a Christian. And the reason being is because it is one of the most lethal professions out there. No, it's
clearly.
not. Yes, it is. Because if I can influence your mind, I can dictate your thoughts and actions.
Yep. Yep.
Like this is Art of War
It
101.
is next. Yeah. It's
No,
next
it's
level
not.
warfare.
Okay. Black Hawk Down. You know the name at least, right? It's a
Top Gun.
Saving
All of that.
Private Ryan. Right. It's a
Right.
okay. So do you not think that they don't amp up their recruitment after a classic
Yeah.
war?
It happens. I've heard it.
Yeah, and it does. And I look up the stats, folks. I'm not saying those specific movies, but look up the
Yep.
stats. Recruitment tends to surge after a popular military movie comes out because it stokes that patriotic flame. And
Yep.
you go over there, and again, when you come back, how many movies are on PTSD? Or better yet, how many movies are on Hitler, but we don't do movies as much on Stalin or Pol Pot or
Mm.
how come? I think we should look into that. That's
Yeah,
a piece
amen
that
to
I
that.
saw, and I think they're completely correct. You should start looking into that.
Yeah.
They dictate it all the time, and I laugh. I laugh at the Republicans who say, "Oh, look, you got a liberal arts degree. You don't know anything." Blah, blah, blah.
Yeah.
I hate to
Well
tell you
said.
this.
Well said.
Outside of sports and maybe politics, what's probably the top three professions that make you money? And I mean a lot of money.
Acting is one of them.
Thank you. And if you don't believe me, have you seen Marvel contracts and stuff?
Yep.
A lot of money talks in digital media. Why? Because you want my skills to go on your screen or to be part of your ensemble, right? And you want to get a particular message across with symbolism and whatnot in a movie. And people are going to come to this movie based off of my popularity,
Yeah.
my skills of acting. It's all about me. My face brought them into the theater. And so
Hmm.
now we have corrupted their minds. They go back out into society. They keep plugging into their, soothsayers to tell them how to think. But what did I just implant in the back of their mind?
An idea.
An idea. Whether
Yeah.
it's a revolution or again, I even taunted them. Why? Because subconsciously, I have just told you somebody always out there will fight the rebellion for you. It's not
Right.
about every one of us. No, no, no. And they wouldn't be doing that now because that's all fiction.
Yeah.
So, see, so fact and fiction, it becomes a thing where it's like, well, you know, I would never do anything like that. Oh, yeah, I would stand against the Nazis if that was the case.
Yeah.
No, you wouldn't. Because right now, you're not saying anything about the immigrants. Well, it's just the immigrants. It was just the
Yeah.
gypsies. It was just this group. And then they came for me, and there was no one to speak on my behalf. Now, whether
Well,
you agree with the full Holocaust thing or not, what I'm arguing here, do you see the funnel that's happening
yeah.
of your bias? And your bias, again, to be a nationalist dude is to be a narcissist. Because you
Yeah.
love your country more than another person. And then suddenly your ethnicity becomes superior and inferior to somebody else because you're not as good as me. Right. And then we have this cocky American mindset. So when you start telling somebody, I don't really care about what's going on the border, I don't really
Hmm.
care about putting on a uniform and saying you're fighting for my freedom. Well, no, that's the epitome of hypocrisy. I don't
Yeah.
care about any of that. And you want to know why? Because you don't say anything about human trafficking under the New York synagogue tunnels. You don't
Yep.
say anything about Epstein's client list or his employers or what the Talmud endorses and promotes, but you suddenly care about this particular race and ethnicity. Well, it's the drug problem. Oh, the war on drugs, where our CIA
Yep.
helped facilitate. They made movies on this dude, Narcos, and other
Mhm.
movies in Hollywood. Look into it. Tom Cruise and a couple other guys
Yeah.
have done big movies.
American
It's saying,
something. Yeah.
oh no, it's the Hispanics, it's the blacks, it's the
Yeah.
this. You little racist piece of crap. I'm done with it, dude. I don't care if you say you're not. You are because you're
Mhm.
stereotyping on a particular class of people because that's what the mainstream media is promoting.
Yeah.
But you don't say anything about God's chosen people. What kind of sick person are you? And especially with mothers, dude. I'll throw it back to you. But seriously,
No, go ahead.
kids' blood is being shed in Gaza. It's being shed in
Yeah.
several places all over the world right now. And as a mother, you say nothing?
Yeah.
But you had time for a butt tilt selfie, or I went to visit this location? How pretty I look with an ocean view?
Yep.
Really? This this is and you say nothing about the
Yeah.
innocence of a child? What is Christ? What does the word of God say? He advocates for the widows and the orphans. And you say nothing and you claim to be
Mhm.
pro-life and Christian?
Yeah.
Do you hear yourselves?
Yeah. It's either, do you think it's more ignorance on their part, or do you
It's
think it's more
willful ignorance, dude.
narcissistic?
We are living in an age. I want to go to the other side of the world and I want to see some photos. Google Maps. I want to know about this particular chat GPT. I want to know what this person, like when they're doing this music video, I want to see the visuals. I don't want to just hear the lyrics. I want to see what you
Yeah.
have the power.
Yeah, but but do you think there's I mean, because I don't know. I mean, I'd love your perspective. I mean, I genuinely think sometimes people, it doesn't dawn on them. I don't know how it could not. I mean, I don't know. I
It's
mean, because they got
prejudice
to
and
be
bias,
inspired to
dude.
go search.
It's prejudice and bias because you don't actually want to see the world from the other person's point of view. The thing is, you claim to be a critical thinker.
Yeah.
In actuality, you are a critical filter.
Mm.
I gotta write
Yeah.
that down. But you're a filter
Yeah.
because, well, I perceive what's going on the border because this is what Tucker Carlson or Shapiro or Alex Jones tells me. What do you think about it? Did you do a media fast for at least 2 months, like you're about to go into? Did
Yeah.
you do a hiatus? Did you process? Did you buy a book on Amazon, which you can get within a 3-day shipping time frame? Usually, statistics.
Yeah.
I'm not saying support Amazon. I'm just saying if you want to get material
Right.
and resources, you have the means of doing so. The thing
Right.
is, you're too lazy, you're too proud, and you're too busy. And part of the too busy thing is because you're doing things. Well, I advocated and I went to this rally and we were promoting Trump in America, and all I heard was somebody who wasted time that probably took a couple of weeks to prep
And
for
money,
it.
time and money. Yeah.
And you
For
prepped a sign and you did this, then you wasted money to go out to that venue to eat food that's supporting something that wasn't it. Do you see what I'm saying? You just
yeah.
in essence, you could have put that money to ministry in some
Yeah.
way, shape, or form, but you threw it towards an ideology, right? It's the binky aspect again.
Well,
I want to feel comfortable, so I'm going to
yeah.
keep doing what makes me feel comfortable. Do you know how stupid you look carrying around your status blankie?
Yeah.
That's what
Well,
it's coming down to, dude. To be a patriot is to be a statist, and to be a statist is to be a slave. And I'm tired because Christ came to redeem the slaves from their sins, and you
mm,
don't get it yet. You still
mhm.
don't understand what Christ is all about because you keep defending the things of this world. And it's
Yeah.
not that hard. It really isn't. You just don't know how to throw away blankie.
Well, what when you bring that up, it makes me think of like a lot of people, a lot of these, soothsayers or propagandizers or leaders, political whatever pundits. It's almost like they're standing on the shore of a lake, casting their bright shiny lures in the form of, oh, I don't know, the cologne, the golden statue, the golden sneakers, the red hat. They're casting this stuff into the water. Fish bite, fish on, put them on the shore. Cast it again, put them on the shore. It's like, how in the world, And like you said,
How do they not see that they're
how do they
fishing
not
for
see that they're
likes?
being lured and every time they catch, they just flip it to the shore. The amount of money, it's been a while since I've checked, if you can believe this, but I mean, the amount of money that Trump has made off his little, what do they call it, swag or
Yeah.
merch, obscene. It's crazy. And like you said, that money could be put to ministry. I mean, I don't know,
You would
man.
think it's like, you know what? I'm going to donate all this money to the kids in Gaza and,
Yeah, it's
help
crazy.
them again, if you're going by the narrative that they're pitching, I don't agree with it, but help them actually get their own little portion. Give them one of your hotels.
Yeah.
No, no, I thought you were a great man of God. And dude, this is the thing is that there's so many alleged Christians right now. They're gonna get up there and he's gonna say, "You did all of that in my name?
Yeah.
Tell me where, chapter and verse, where I endorse this.
Yeah.
Where can you find voting in the Bible? I've looked, good dude. Can't find it. When you're looking at the verses, it's like, no, that has nothing to do with what
Mm,
you're talking about. But there's more
no.
than a few of saying they select kings and princes without my say. You have all of
Mm,
First Samuel chapter 8. You have other verses saying, be not like the other nations. Aren't we based on Roman and Greek with our politics? Are
yeah.
we not told by Christ in Matthew chapter 5 and also in James to not take any oaths? If you took an oath for something of this world, you're already gone back into sinning.
Mm,
Swear not by heaven or earth. It's
yeah.
crickets, dude. It's crickets. It's like at a certain point, even inauguration, that's an oath of office. An oath
Mm,
of office for something of this world. In essence, even a president, pope, it's the same thing, dude. It's a substitute before God. Well,
mhm.
I'm not saying we can't have a chief or an elder, but the difference, like I said before, a chief is there because he's old. He's refined, he's wisdom. And are elders biblical? Yes. Can we find this in the Bible? Yes. But did we have to elect him? No, he kind of got the position because he's freaking stuck around for so long. You know?
Yeah.
But even still, I don't really care. But if you want to ask somebody for wisdom that's been around, I'll go to the old man. the old woman. They have so much collective of knowledge. Try going to them before you go to Google. Try to
Sure.
hear a life story, for crying out loud. Is it really going to kill you? I talk with old people all the time, and a lot of times they like me because
Oh
they're like,
yeah.
you know that? Yeah, I listen to the oldies. I watch a lot of the oldies. I know exactly what you're talking about when you're making a mention of something. It's not that
They're
hard.
huge. They're huge sources of wisdom, and well, every person is a source of experience. You get to live a little bit through them. But yeah,
Hmm.
especially you talk with people who've been in, you know, old gentlemen who've been in World War II, and you hear their stories. It's like what? It's basically like a mini movie. You get to transport there. Yeah, they're vital. You know, it's crazy.
The thing is, dude, we've ostracized the things that are important in society,
Hmm.
and we're not doing anything to re-implement it personally. And this is again why I personally am saying, you know what, if you're going to be in my sphere, I'll say something for you. If you want me to, talk with you, I'll talk to you. It might take me a while to coordinate it because you know how it
Hmm.
is in this business. It gets all backed up and then you're just like, so I get
Yeah.
it. I do get it, but that's also the beauty of it is I'm always willing to talk about what I believe in because that's what
Mhm.
you, excuse me, that's just what a Christian's supposed to do. I love talking about my faith. I love talking about my savior. I love talking about how to make you be confident in yourself. If I have means and resources to help that to do that, I will
Mhm.
do so. Now, this is not to say that I'm advocating to send me a DM or to send Mark and bombard us with all these things. We have a hard enough time on our own without being a digital therapist giving you a session for free on top of that.
Mhm.
Because our time is precious. But what I am saying, dude, is that we need more people to stand up and to be lions and to start roaring. Because some, like yourself and I, we're getting tired. We need reinforced. Dude, there's sometimes I'm getting in a game and I'm like, how cowardly you people. Move up. I'm looking at the map. Move
Yeah.
up. Reinforce. Do
Well,
something. Oh, got
I,
COVID shots in your brain? Like, crying
yeah.
out loud.
Well, we could go down that rabbit hole, but what I was gonna say is that again, most people we've all been groomed to be followers, right?
Yeah,
There's your leader, there's your political person, there's your leader, there's your Hollywood person, your media person, whatever. And it's diabolical and sinister. See, this is why this couldn't have it couldn't have happened this way. I don't know. Then again, I think about the early 1900s and their whole, when I've seen the people wearing masks then with the flu that went around, I don't know. We the further on society, the more grooming, like you said about the kids, it's grooming, the preparation, the psychological preparation. I don't know. It is. You know what it is, Brandon? I think about this a lot too. It's like this idea of the best prison is the prison that the person doesn't even know they're in, and
yeah,
the best slave
yeah,
is the person who doesn't
yeah.
even know they're a slave. These, especially in America, it makes me so mad. I get about this is why I can feel your frustration when you look at these people. I look at people and I'm like, look, you you you've been told that you're special and chosen and you won the lottery on the world and you think no one would ever dare attack you. You are a fool. You are a fool beyond fools. And I love you, but I'm not going to sit here and bolster you up thinking that you're and it's generations in, 5, 6 generations in of this American elitist, this arrogance, and they use that against you. It's so frustrating to me. And I'm like, wake up. You are not special. You're being used and you're a tool and you're a useful idiot. It's
It's
hard to watch.
it's kind of like a parable though of like the brat prince perspective of the throne is yours. This is totally
Yeah.
and at a certain point when the prince is about to take the throne, you find out what a wuss he is because when
Yeah.
everything starts falling down or he gets challenged, right? How dare you? I'm the prince. Or it's
Mhm.
like with Joffrey from Game of Thrones. You
Yeah.
just slapped it and did my hand fall from its wrist. No, it didn't. You're not outside of ridicule and rebuke.
Yeah.
And this is where I think the aspect of the Ronin or the what do I call it? Gosh, the aspect of saying, you know what, I'm not going to tolerate what you think you are because you talk,
Yeah.
and a person
Mm.
who talks a lot the most powerful person in the room doesn't need to say many words, because
Yeah.
the few words that they say are more than sufficient, right?
Yeah.
And I think it was in Babylon 5. There was not one of the main actors, but a guy said, it says, I find if a man doesn't say exactly what he means, he can never quite mean what he says.
That's
You,
good.
you can use all this flowery language in the world you want, but if you don't say specifically what you mean, your words are meaningless, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
And I hate to say it, but this is kind of the whole aspect of the media, isn't it? Or even a press conference. You're deflecting from the truth by giving all this hyperbole, like, oh, this is what he means by that, and oh, no,
Mhm.
you're misunderstanding. And then like 2 weeks later, you're like, are you sure? Because that that looks like the no, 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 you're just biased and you're political this, you're political that, and no, and you're over here going, no, I don't do that. I'm asking from an individualist perspective. Does that make sense? And if the news actually had a backbone and integrity, and they weren't scared about losing their funding,
They
um,
call it, yeah.
they would actually care about their fellow citizens, as opposed to the people that are, because, dude, real journalism, or real alternative news media, as I think yourself and Victor Hugo have phrased it as, we're we're busting our butts
Hmm.
day in, day out, reading, putting up a clip. Like I've seen you post a couple ones too. You're
Hmm.
putting up a clip. You're just saying, I don't know, but here's a
Yeah. Food for
perspective. Look
thought,
into this. And what do you see usually? You got like what, 44,000 followers?
Yeah, right in the
I see
neighborhood.
maybe three, 8 likes tops on your profile most days.
I know.
How is that?
I'm not sure what,
Oh,
well,
I know why.
you
That's part
think
of Palantir, dude. That's part of what they're doing even with me. They're saying, "Oh, you have
Mhm.
to cite the exact page and source that your post came from, or else we're going to limit it in the algorithm."
It might, yeah,
Dude,
I mean, I
it's the
don't,
internet. Do you know how hard it is to zero in and trying to find out where something originally came from?
yeah.
It's.
Well,
And I messaged them back. Not that they're reading it, or whoever it was at Meta was probably going, "That is actually kind of
yeah,
cool." Because I was like, "Yes, you know exactly what you." I feel like I'm having a conversation with my handler at this point.
right.
It's like I'm on probation, but
Yeah.
that's what I'm saying, dude. Is that we're over here, good intentions, trying to put something out here, and then I see these other ones pushing
Hmm.
something that's a little bit more not edifying, not giving you fruit, not giving you, real stuff. 300 something likes,
Yeah.
1,600 and something share. Like this. Why do they get boosted in the algorithm, and somebody like yourself and I, we just we just dissipate, we disappear. We're
Yeah, I
digital
mean,
ghosts.
I don't doubt that's going on. I mean, you know, it is the age we live in, you know.
Stage we live in, but that's the thing, dude, is that these people who do not produce content, or they have their page set on private, or their profile picture are sunglasses, and they feel like the tough guy when they write their comment. It's like, really? You can't
Hmm.
even show me the whites of your eyes, but you're gonna tell me what you think
Yeah.
about this, or what's going on? Okay, bro. Okay, and I'm not saying everybody. I'm saying statistically, on a certain side of the aisle, I see that, and I'm like, most people do. Do they wear sunglasses? I immediately go to their page. If it's on private and they wear sunglasses, gone.
Hmm.
Why? Because I've had enough experience to know again, it's kind of like coming into the dojo. Now, my sensei, respectfully, he was saying like, "Oh, Brandon, you gotta wear your uniform, blah blah blah." And I'm over here like, I don't like uniforms. I don't mind
Hmm.
getting dressed in the attire if I personalized it, but I don't like uniforms. Why? Because
Hmm.
then I'm becoming conformist. Now, I love the
Hmm.
art. I like learning the process. I do respect, but uniform. And he couldn't
Hmm.
understand that, because
Yeah.
but stuff like that, dude. Where I'm just like, I can't. It's hard for me to conform to most things, because I don't. And again, I think I had this all the way back when I was 13, 14, when I came up with my call tag for video games, MD, Archer MD,
Hmm.
Maverick, Disciple. I follow, but I have a little bit of that streak where it's like, you know what? I got my own style with it. I'm a little bit, I'm against the grain. Why?
Yeah.
Because if you're always going with the flow,
Yeah.
you're gonna get caught up in the stream of the mob, and I can't do that. It's the contrarian in me.
Well, and that's also it's that I forget who said it, but they something to the effect of if you're on the side of the majority of the most people, you better rethink your stance. Could have been Twain, I don't know, but it's like that's like seen that play out all the time. Like when we went into desert or when we went into Iraq in the early 2000s. I keep thinking about Chris Hedges. I guess he was with the New York Times and he was like, this is a bad idea. And at the time, everyone was like, no, no, we got to go. Again, look at him now. He is a freaking, his social status, social credit has gone way through the roof because he knew 25 years ago. And the same thing I think will happen during the last handful of years during the debacle in 2020 and 2021. The
Mhm.
more time that goes by, just like what's happening in early 2000s, I've never seen so much new content and people waking up to that event that happened in early 2000s with those buildings. You know, I didn't see Iraq or the two buildings coming down. I didn't see the truth then. I sure do now. So it's
Mhm.
wild. People wake up at their own time, but it is
If they choose to look, if
if
they
they
choose
choose to
to
look, yeah, have
invest,
an open
yeah,
mind. And you know what it is, Brandon? It's pattern recognition. That's
yeah,
what I think is waking people up now. It's like there's so many people talking about, USS Liberty, the two buildings, of dancing, on rooftops. I mean, there's so much pattern recognition. The debacle in Afghanistan, and it's maybe what happens when all empires get to their end of their life. It's like we've spun off so many lies. It's like make it rain with lies.
juggling,
Yeah,
constantly juggling.
juggling like lies upon lies upon lies. The house of cards crumbles in. No, and no wonder people are seeing it. This is why you nailed it. Our very first or second interview where you said if if COVID didn't wake you up and from then on out you're not doing a smell test on everything, you are not paying attention.
So
So
it's like
true.
choosing to like I'm not sure what you would call it. The conformist flag would basically be an ostrich with their head in the sand.
Yes.
You don't realize the power of your kick could take out a lion, but you're over here instead of doing anything, hiding your head.
Yeah.
And you
Well, and I
look
think
nice, you're very tall, you're very fluffy, you can run very fast,
yeah.
but when you just put your head in the sand, you're nothing.
No.
And you can be something. The thing is, you're too scared. When like, well,
Yeah.
the thing is, when
It
I'm
is
telling this to
scary.
people, I want fellow people or doers to be like shoulder to shoulder because there's so few of us as opposed to the conformists that are in their collective.
Hmm.
I want maybe 10 good men, 12, 300 as we get with
Yeah.
Gideon. I'm okay with a minority collective, but I want to make sure the collective that's with me is
Yeah.
ready to
Their
fight.
hearts and minds. Yeah.
Right. And this is why God was sifting out, saying the ones that do this, get rid of them. The ones that are doing this, do that. There is a sifting process of testing the integrity and character of who's going to be fighting
Hmm.
with you. And this is even a thing. I know people laugh, but when I was at camp, I'm very competitive because I'm a strategist.
I can see that. Yeah.
And when I'm seeing who I have as a team for kids, I want to make sure I'm picking somebody that's smart. I know that somebody,
Yeah.
if I tell them like, and again, I'm not telling them as in to be your leader. I'm saying I'm telling you this. I know who their strongest players are. You need to do this, this, or this. And I said, aim at this person and aim at this person. We won within like 3 minutes flat.
Wow.
But they're saying you gotta be careful because you can't be. I'm like, listen, I'm not trying to be mean, but I do understand, and I'm studying people. I understand intelligence. I look for it in character constantly. And if
Hmm.
I'm going to be going in anything competitively, I want to make sure we win or we have the best dang fight that they ever had. Like I said with chess, I'll probably lose. Statistically, I do lose, but I make sure somebody earns it. And it gets down to you chasing the king and the knight or the pawn or whatever. I try my best to statistically always get to that objective when I can and if I am able. Why? Because if I just give it away, it's too easy.
Yeah.
But if I'm given a fight, you have to think, you have to concentrate, right? Because if you goof up, I might slip by or I might get a stalemate.
Yeah.
Which means I'm the bad guy from the battle and I rode away over the hill and the
Yeah.
good guy didn't catch me. That was the end of the play. Like
Mhm.
that's what it comes down to, dude. And I think people don't understand is that the power is that you got to at least start making your way into that direction of the person that's already doing so you
Yeah.
can be a fellow doer. And it's not of I'm better than you, it's more of welcome aboard, apprentice. Let me show
Mhm.
you the reins of how we do things around here in the tanning shop, in the forgery, in the fill in blank. You're an
Yeah.
apprentice because you actually want to do better. And it doesn't mean you have to do exactly what I do. You actually might see my craft, and again, I'm saying anybody. You might see the craft and you might amplify or create something even better to make it more effective.
Yeah.
Yeah, I would be thrilled if you surpass the master. Why?
Hmm.
I had the honor of having under my tutelage.
Yep.
That was more than enough of just saying, I know that guy.
Yeah.
Like a dad, I'm proud. I'm proud that you're getting a medal or what, whatever, an award
Mhm.
for that. You're doing something.
Yeah.
It's not, again, we're again in the occult or occult. Look at how good I am because I did
Yep.
that for you.
Yep.
I would want all the accolades. I would no. The other one is just saying, I have no words. I'm crying, and I'm just beaming with pride because they're doing something. And I was able to put a little something in their life, like a teacher. They came to my class at this university, now not part of the alumni, and they became a famous this, a famous that. But I was able to put them through a little something in my class, and I inspired them.
Yeah.
That is an honor, and it's not something of better than thou. But I think we've also lost the what is it? The not the accolades, the appreciation of those who help mentor us.
Mm.
Mentor, I forged your mind. Like
Yeah.
I helped you, I sand it down, and I
Hmm.
helped you propel forward into doing something for your life.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah, no, that's true. Yeah, yeah, yeah. Yeah, we've lost a lot of valuable mentorship tradition type things that we've, to pass on to generation, you know. I think we're getting. I think they can come back, and I think they are coming back. I mean, because again, many people are seeing as the empire starts to crumble down, and the foundation of lies or the shifting sands what everything was built on, and the propaganda, it doesn't work. Years ago I read I remember the quote of once they can no longer rule you with fraud, then the force begins, right? Something to the effect of that. And we're coming to the force pretty soon because the fraud is pretty much exposed again. I wish there was some kind of a meter in the United States of like how many people are awake to the fact, and I think it's high to the fact that
it
our country
is.
is a fraudulent criminal. Not that other countries aren't too, but just talking about America because we've been a superpower for the last uh, lots of years. Uh, but there's still people that are in the patriot mode. They're still out there. So I don't know.
Well, there
But
was
certainly
32
people
million
see
Americans that didn't vote during this
32
last
million.
election. 32 million, and I'm chuckling when I see these pages saying, "You guys could have changed this, and we didn't have to." I'm like, no,
Yeah,
he was going to win.
yeah, yeah,
I,
yeah.
I I I said it way early on, and nobody believed me. Then after the ear shooting, I said, "I told you it's gonna be
Yeah,
a thing." Here's the thing: if it was so bad under Biden, and we didn't like Trump after J6, how come we didn't have 10 or so individuals running on the Republican ticket? How
good
come it was
point.
only like 3 to 4?
Yeah, good
Just
point.
automatically went to Trump. That's not competition. And
Mm-mm.
I thought we were against Trump after J6. No? Okay. I get
Well,
it was
yeah,
so
yeah,
obvious.
and I thought we were against Trump. I was just thinking about this today. I thought we were against Trump after Operation Warp Speed. I mean, is it me or are people losing their minds? Like they've ran back to him, but again, I see it because the uh, the Biden psyop was so traumatic for right wing and Christians that they were salivating at the mouth to go vote for Operation Warp Speed. I was like, come on. That's one. It's just so weird. It's so gross, man. They just manipulate us. Some
Dude,
people.
I love that phrase from fraud to force. And it makes me chuckle from trust the force. Why?
Yeah.
Aren't you gonna beat me over the head with it? Like, and
Well,
I'm just laughing because it's the rebellion, the force, the imperial.
yeah.
Like they were saying it had nothing to do with Gaza with what they were doing. It was talking about like, basically like the main actor of Andor was saying it's actually talking about events of the past, but it can always be like if we went 10 years back, we'd probably find another, oh, this is just like this. Yeah,
Yeah.
imperialism and fascism are always
Yeah.
going to be a thing.
Yeah.
The problem is, when do you wake up to understand you need to become a rebel? When do you defect? When do you say, I'm done? I finally get the meme.
Hmm.
I get the inscription. I understand the book you reference. I understand the show now, because you start saying, you know what? That the hollow thing I've been feeling? Is that
Hmm.
the lack of, I have no purpose, I'm not contributing, I feel useless?
Yeah.
Is that possibly it? And because I disagree with most of what you say, but you keep following me, is that possibly the little thing that's nagging at you like a little tack in the back of the head? And you're just going, ow, ow. Why are you not addressing the issue as opposed to just saying, I'm going to keep following even though I disagree? No, you're already
Yeah.
halfway there. The problem is, I've come up to you, you come into the dojo, here's the sword, and you're going, uh-uh. Why? Because I'm scared to draw it.
Hmm.
Yeah, it's not fun, it's not pretty. You can't throw this thing away. This is esteemed, it has value, it has honor. It's not something to just be played with. Which a lot of people, they talk, they swing, but they got nothing to back it up.
Yeah.
So when the force starts coming your way and you got nothing to stand on, well, you're either going to be one of two things. You're going to be that person, like I said before, in the industrial aspect, you don't respect dirt. They're going. You got nothing to stand on. You need to
Hmm.
respect people who are under you, and you also need to be vice versa, right? But people don't want to do that, dude. They don't want to take the first steps because it's too scary,
Yeah.
and they don't want to submit because they're over here saying, well, then I'll lose control. Would you, again, during C19, would you rather trust your friend and family that's saying, look over here,
Hmm.
that you've gone to school with, that you went to high school with, that
Yeah.
you've had experiences, you've shared moments? Are you going to trust the thing in your black mirror box on your screen, whether it's your
Yeah.
phone, your computer, or your TV? Who are you going to trust more? Well, I'm going to
Yeah.
trust them. Why? Because they're well educated. They went to Harvard and they have 5 degrees and blah,
Yeah,
blah, blah.
there are leaders.
Or
They're
you're going to
authority
trust a
figures.
guy that has a deplorable reputation to lead your country?
Yeah.
He's sent by God. Ah!
Wild.
Anytime you put that phrase on somebody, doo-doo-doo-doo,
Yeah.
that's red alert. That just no, not sent by God, or like his spiritual advisor. When I sent that to my buddy, it was like, "What?" I said, "Yeah, say no to President Trump is to say no to God." Huh?
Hmm.
You're telling me anything synonymous with Trump's mouth, face, patriotism, whatever you want to fit, is to say no to God?
Wow.
So if I'm against Planetare, I'm against Trump, and I'm against God because I don't want surveillance Big Brother state? Is what that's in essence. What does that apply to? Or just like we said before, the White House thing, just don't comply and everything will be fine. Just obey.
Yeah.
Do you mind specifying specifically what that is? Is that ICE raids? Is that, what's going? Do you tell me, bro? Oh, it's all of us. Okay, not a threat. Um, it is
Yeah.
a threat. They're constantly coercing you. You better get into that voting booth. I don't vote because I'm not contributing to the circus. That's statistics for
Yeah, because
gullibility.
even Trump said that. What did he say multiple times? This is the most important election of America. All of them, like
They
most
say
important
it
election
all
of
the
America.
time.
Manipulation. You're like, you know what? What was this? What? It's the thing of it is, once you resist and know nothing and know nothing bad happened to you, and over time, like I can remember when when Biden and the whole bunch of people were putting the pressure on in, I think it was 2021,
Uh-huh.
our patient is wearing thin and his stupid speech. And I was just like, okay, now you guys are exposing your car to those who can see you're really losing it. Because again, if you truly care about people, you don't force them to do anything. If you love them, let them free, but they don't. And I was like, you
That's
guys
anarchy.
exposed.
That's why politicians is like, no, that's your slave master. And again, the
Yeah,
Jones plantation hits home. It's like, listen, how are you losing your patience with me when I've never even met you? It's because I'm not going to the system of what you wanted me to do.
yeah,
I'm not complying. That's why you're losing patience with me. I have the right to disagree with you because why? You're a public servant. You work for me.
yep,
So
yep,
how is it my servant is giving me an edict of
yeah,
legislation telling me I need to do it Do you hear yourselves, people? Your servant is telling you what to do, and it's being enforced by law enforcement.
Mhm.
N to
Well,
go into force
yeah,
mind. They're
yeah.
forcing their on your mind. Well,
Well,
and then the cop. Oh, well, it's not my idea. If you got a problem with it, talk to the
just following
politician.
orders, yeah.
Just following orders. Okay, so you're an autonomous robot, in which case you're confirming for me uniformity is not a good thing. That you're a
Yeah.
1 star. That's what you rated yourself when you joined a little force, right? You're a 1 star wearing Babylon blue, and you got to wear all this armor, all this, protection on yourself. Well, violence against cops. Okay, okay.
Mhm.
We really need to
Well,
start reeling it down. When do we suddenly say, you know what? Why does the slave have warriors always defending him, and us, we have
yeah,
to get pieces of paper of licenses and
yeah.
all these permits and whatnot, because if we don't, the slave who's supposed to be working for us will put us behind bars. Do you see it, folks? It is
Mhm.
stupid as hell and obvious to see, but you keep conforming because if I
Yeah.
speak out, you know what?
I think I think many people, I see so many comments about like I got it, I regret it now, how do I get it? People see it. I mean, it's by mass. I'm seeing so much of it. But the other thing that I think about, the one thing probably on a lesser conscious level was, I remember, when they rolled out COVID. I mean, again, I just kept thinking in my mind, once I know someone's a fool, or an entity or a group is a fool, they're always a fool until they do like 50 things that redeem them. Okay, and I'm like, oh my gosh, you're doing good, great now. But
Actions.
for our
Yeah.
government, they're 35 trillion in debt. They spent 20 years in Afghanistan and spent a bunch of money. And the thing that got me about Afghanistan was our military told the Afghani people, hey, we're here to help you, help us get the Taliban. We got your back. And then peace out, we're leaving. And I thought to myself, how they treat one person's how they treat all people. And I'm like, on a deep level, I knew it. I didn't think of it at the time, but I'm like, you guys are scammers from the highest. And you see it all the time. The mid debacle in
Yes.
Iraq, all of it. And I'm like, how in the world do you follow people that treat other people that way and that are criminals? People weren't in their right mind. Because now the dust settled, I guarantee you that dust settled, if they're thinking properly, 20% takes it. I mean, I don't think they get, if you can trust the numbers. I don't think they got the 70%.
Right, right. Well, statistics are out there of something or other.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I don't know
And
if it's
and
true, but
I think, dude, that was kind of the thing that I really dissed about what was his name? Andrew Jackson,
uh-huh.
is that he got a collective to guard the Baton Rouge, wherever it was, somewhere in Louisiana. He got the Native Americans, he got a group of pirates and stuff like that. And then a couple years later, once you're in office, you're telling those same people who fought with you to protect a country which was usually before you got here, my land, and now you're just going to sell me down the river and literally
Yep.
ship me to the hot Oklahoma territory. I thought we were brothers in arms. And that was something that really hit me as a historian, of just going, how?
Yeah.
That's and then Shays Rebellion. Or even, dude, any protest you see now,
Yeah.
cops immediately come over and they escort the person out, or put the cuffs on. Freedom of
Yeah.
speech, right to protest. But you keep locking me up every time I do. Or now when I assemble, which they're going to do with Planeteer, somebody was breaking this down. I'll post it soon. Now you're telling me, if I say free Palestine or something of this nature, that's now going to be part of my rap sheet, as it were, and you're going to narrow down where I live, and you're also going to see where my phone bounces up other people's phones. You're going to start narrowing down who I know and stuff. And this is all going to go to a database at the CIA, FBI, and whenever they want to pick you up, if you're causing too much problems, they'll sail off the street, pick you up, and that's it.
Sure.
So
Well,
my thing is this: if I don't get freedom of speech, and my government has been notoriously known for backstabbing everybody. Again, what is it, the Red Tails, the Tuskegee Airmen?
I don't know much about those. I
They
only
made
know
them
about the
paint
Tuskegee
their
experiment.
yeah, they made them paint their tails of their planes red so that
Really?
the Germans would automatically, yeah, they would divert and shoot at the blacks as opposed to shooting
Shoot.
at the white guys that were steering the bombers. Yeah. And also the Tuskegee Airmen experiment with, experimental
Yeah.
drones. There's all
Yeah.
of this, dude. Or the Buffalo Soldier. We
Yes.
have the black guy go out and shoot the Indian guy so the white guy gets the land. Do you see,
Yeah.
like, same thing with the Black Panthers? We're going to use you guys to justify the narrative that we have black crime on the streets, and they're the ones dealing with
Mm.
drugs, when it's really the CIA that's facilitating all of this. And whenever somebody's a problem, we off them. Same thing with Martin Luther King Jr.
Yeah.
Always controlled opposition, and when you're gone too much, or you might actually take the fame we gave you and
Yeah.
go a
Your
different
head.
route, we
Yeah.
off you. Right. It's the same narrative all the time. And if this is my government, why am I pledging to it?
Yeah. So
If that's
much.
my flag, I'm sorry.
Amen.
I'm an iconoclast now. Do you know what that is?
I don't know what that is. I've heard it.
Somebody who desecrates freaking shrines, something sacred, sacred traditions, statues. I'm an iconoclast, as in, no, I'm done. I don't care if
Yeah, I
that's
know
sacred
that
to you.
too.
I don't care what the flag is.
Yeah, I know the truth of that. Like
Yes.
in that
All of
country,
them.
in this
All of them,
country.
dude. I cannot stand by that. And I think as Tertullian, again, Origin and Tertullian are early church fathers. When they hit something on the head, they nailed it. And when they were off, they really were off by a mile. But
Mm.
he said one phrase that was, I got this from Kekargus from the Bad Roman. Shout out to him. He says, should we carry a flag? It is a rival to Christ.
Mm.
So if
Wow.
I'm putting a substitute of a flag that was literally written by a racist of Francis Bellamy, I have done an episode on that. Lesser two evils, look it up. If wh- why? And he didn't even believe in the virgin concept of the virgin birth.
Mm.
This was a minister.
Wow.
Why am I pledging to the words that he wrote? No, thank you, good sir. And
Yeah.
dude, I think that's the world we're living in. Some of us are just saying, I can't do it anymore because to do it
Yeah.
is to conform. And now that I'm awake, what is that saying to my God, my King?
Hmm.
What is that saying to him? If I keep kneeling at the altar of state and I keep reciting the incantations of my government, the spells, then that makes me no better. This makes me complicit with everything that happens with the atrocities my government commits in
Yeah.
my name. Every time I vote,
Yep.
I am submitting that this is in my name. My
Yeah.
name is in the hat jar. My name is in the hat
Yep.
jar. Oh,
Think about it
you
all the
don't
time.
think it is? Did you register to be drafted, eligible for the draft? Your name is in that. I can test that under unto Caesar. Hold on. Your internet connection, whatever.
Yeah, I
Picked
noticed
me
you
up.
froze.
Not doing it.
Is it my end?
You good
I
now?
am. Okay, you're coming in loud and clear now. Yeah, for looks like we had a little.
Yeah, it glitched on my end for a moment. You're good.
Okay, go ahead. You were, yeah, because I want to. I'm glad you're talking about this.
Yeah,
Yeah, complicity. Go ahead.
yeah. It's like, so, you know, do I register? Yes. Is it something I endorse? No. Comes a moment where I render unto Caesar, because again, taxes. I give unto him what is expected for the now, but is not what I have the choice to not be the soldier. I have the choice to not pledge to the flag. I have the choice to not go into a voter's booth. I have the choice to not go to seek political office. I have
Did I lose you?
the choice to.
You cut out again. I wonder. Let me see here. It says
They don't like what we're saying.
do I have you? Okay, you're back. You're back. You cut out a little bit
Yeah,
there.
yeah, you glitched up too. It's more so on your
Yeah,
side this time.
that's
Yeah.
weird.
Well, they
Well,
probably don't like what we're saying. It happens all
maybe,
the time with
maybe.
shows like me. Don't worry about it, bro.
Yeah.
Just make a note of the timestamp of that, if you
Oh,
could.
okay. Well, it was about, yeah, let me see here. Where is the timestamp?
You can edit it all
Oh,
out.
for some reason I can't see my time.
We're probably like an hour 55.
Oh, there it
Okay.
is. It was off. Yeah, let's say it was about an hour 50, yeah, hour 55.
Okay.
That's
Okay.
about
Okay.
it.
But yeah, what was I saying? Yeah, I'm not sure if we got all of them.
Well, no, no. The thing I wanted to say about, I'm glad you brought that up because that's the, I haven't touched on this in my content, um, but I want to make it clear to people that, hey, if your government has committed crimes, which I don't think you're going to find a lot of people that will argue with you that we unalived millions, because I mean it's pretty common knowledge we unalived millions in Iraq and those 500,000 babies. Heck, Madeleine Albright herself sign, on 60
You're clicking
Minutes said it
up
was a
again.
price we had to pay. So I want to, if there's one thing I can make Americans understand is I want to make them understand and say, look, whether you believe in God or not, whatever, do you believe it is wrong to kill a baby? Your government did that. You signed off on it in some way or another. Now, unless you were out there marching in the street against it, most Americans did. I actually signed off on that. Was deceived. I didn't stand up. I didn't question it, and so
Right,
that's on me. I want Americans to really realize the crimes and atrocities against humanity that their government committed is on them if they didn't speak out about it. Like it's not on Chris Hedges because at the time he said this is a bad idea.
right.
He is um what's the word I'm thinking of? He is not involved in that. But I was involved in all the bullshit. And that's why I speak up so much now to try to make amends for the problems that
Thank
I've
you.
created. And
Right.
there's a high probability at some point in the future for me, I will ditch this country and go to Iraq or Libya or South America and do what I can to freaking repair the damage that I freaking caused, because of my ignorance. I can think of no better way to spend the rest of my life if and when I decide to do that than to do that. I mean, 500,000 babies over the course of like a handful of years.
Mm,
That is wild, wildly sick. And this is why I get so frustrated when I see people just saddling up to the bread and circuses, la di da, just the chips and the drinks. I'm like, dude, you have no idea when you wake up, you're going to feel so bad for what you've done, you know? That's why
and
I try to wake people up. It's not a
well, thank you,
game, you
dude.
know?
Make atonement, or it's a redemption thing, and that's
Yes.
again. I don't feel as bad because the first time voting, like my family didn't talk about it, so it was like, okay, I know I don't want Hillary, and it
Yeah.
wasn't necessarily like Trump wasn't even on my thing. It was just more like, is that the only? Okay, that's the only option as opposed to this one. The
Yeah.
second time, like I said, I felt like I was going into a prostitute's
Me
house.
too. Me too.
And what if somebody sees me? And spiritually, again, that already means between what 2016 to 2020, I was already being convicted. Now, for the first of 2021, when you look back at my former posts, some of you are like, but after that, after 21, you can just see how it just started filtering of going, not anymore. We're done.
Yeah, you woke up completely. Is that what you're saying?
Well, again, it wasn't even completely. It was more so my convictions finally resonated into actually being something. It wasn't just thoughts. I put
Mm.
thoughts to action and they became substance. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
I've now put words. I've now done reels. I've now done satire. I write inscriptions. I do podcasts. I read books. Right. God's given me a gift of mind and articulation. So
Mhm.
utilize that to help others who don't feel so confident in that area. And that's no
Mhm.
shame towards them. It's saying, okay, what can I do to contribute? And if I have to be the spark or the glitch, the nipping at
Mhm.
the heels, as it were, here I am, Lord, send me. I don't care if I'm you know, you're obstinate, you're being mean, you're narcissistic, you're that. I don't care how you
Yeah.
perceive
You know
it.
your mission. Your mission comes first. Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
I'm here to shake the rug and beat out the dust. What happens after that when you put it back in the house, that's up to you. I
Hmm.
want it to be where I'm coming over the hill and you're like, oh, great, more bad news.
Yeah.
Why? Because when you see me, hope it gives you hell. This is in essence. I want, when you see my face, I want it to be like, great, here comes the guy that has to always throw a conviction our way about telling us what the Bible says. Because when you go to
Hmm.
church, you don't feel that way, right? You get all dressed up, you throw your little
Yeah.
tithe in there, you're not squirming and feeling uncomfortable. If anything, he's just making you feel happy, he's making you feel
Yeah.
secure. Vote another election. Here's another Mother's Day sermon, and you go on your merry way. Meantime, we have paganism going out the wazoo with putting, Nimrod's phallus in our foyer and his
Yeah.
wife's, other parts on our
Yeah.
wreaths on the doorway. Like, this is a certain point where it's like, guys, I say no. And I
Hmm.
say that because he says no. And if you got a problem with me, then you got a problem with him, because this is what I was talking about. The prophets and the apostles, they were inspired men of God that were inspired by the Holy Spirit. Now, I'm not saying I'm a prophet. I'm not saying I'm an apostle to throw it out for that one little current person that's going to
Yeah.
say that. The thing is, if I am supposed to emulate the followers of Christ who were there to the source and were always persecuted, because the closer you get to God, the more you're going to be hated by the people. He said, you persecuted the prophets because they spoke on my behalf. When you came to the disciples, they hated me before they hated you. He's already
Mhm.
telling them. So if we as Christians, doesn't mean we have to be esteemed or as all prominent as these guys in the Bible. Okay, take your head out of that freaking perspective. The thing is,
Mhm.
if I'm supposed to take on that mantle and or reputation, that testimony, I should be emulating these people and stop saying, I can never do that. The whole purpose of that parable of the serpent that says, I can't use that one talent you gave me.
Mhm.
Premise is that you try, not that you make excuses. It's that you say, all right,
Yeah, make
I'll
an
try.
effort.
I'll try to make two, but you throw it away or you hide it. You hide your light under a bushel. Shame on you, you little coward. Get out of here,
Mhm.
scamp. I have no need of you. Why? Because if you're not going to fight, or you're going to bring a spoon when it's a sword fight, you're probably not going to win. Well, I
Yeah.
could pinch his eyes out. Yeah, but good luck trying to get past 4 inches of, 4 feet of steel, 3 inch, 3 feet of steel, 2 feet of steel. I don't know what it is. Whatever you're carrying, a claymore or a gladius, whatever it is,
Mhm.
you're not going to get to your target
Yeah.
if that's what you're carrying and you think you have sway with that. Anyways,
Yeah. Yeah. No, you bring up good
clergy.
points. You bring up good points. It is an all hands on deck kind of situation. And then, but the challenge is, like we've talked about, is getting people to, figure out their talent, get on the field, suit up. It's interesting, but good
Get your
stuff.
butt off the bleachers.
Yeah, yeah, right, right.
Oh
Or
God.
even like we've talked about in different shows, even if you don't want to get on the field, at least study the field. What's
Yes.
been what has gone down in the past. This is so interesting to me. I just don't understand how people aren't looking at the how current events played out, and then after the psyop goes down, go and look at how it got wrapped up. Look into the
Right.
radiation experiments. Clinton apologized. Look into Tuskegee. Look into the St. Louis. Look at all these things before you trust these people
Keep
anymore.
defending them. Yeah.
I'm like, what are you
Well,
doing? Because
that comes back to the same thing with what they're denying in my family, saying he didn't do that, or if he did that, you got to get rid of the word if.
what
They
in what
did do.
sense? Just different events, or
I might as well say it.
well, you don't have to if you don't want to.
My birth father was messing around with some of my other adopted sisters.
Hmm.
And when the bios heard this, who are already part of the original family, they're over here going, no, he did do this. And I'm laughing that you guys are all going, oh, you're spouting out all the stuff that he didn't do it, or you're putting up all these defenses, or you're you're unfriending me because you think I'm somehow
Hmm.
like ungrateful, or I'm trying to cause a problem or no, this is true. I've confirmed it with both of the victims. But this is the same thing. Like I said, I saw it domestically. Now I'm seeing it internationally because it's the
Hmm.
same elements. If I acknowledge that, my premeditated ignorance that everything's fine is suddenly out the wazoo. I got
Hmm.
nothing that I can grip. I suddenly come to the realization I'm living with a liar. I'm
Hmm. I'll lose you.
living with an abusive person. As opposed to what my mother did, she became a maudlin alcoholic. Okay, we might want to wrap it up. Things
Yeah.
they're hating our
Well.
conversation, man. But anyways,
Yeah.
my mother was getting into these stupors every night, dude, and it's because she didn't want to come forward and calling out what
Sure.
she knew.
Sure.
And so this is the same thing that I'm seeing internationally. If I say something, what's everybody else going to say? What's my neighbor
Yeah.
going to say? What's this
Yeah.
person going to say? And it's coming to the point where it's like, who cares?
Right. Well, and also it's like two things. The whole thing of like, okay, they came for my neighbor, I didn't say anything. They came for my other neighbor, I didn't say anything. They came for me, no one's left around. But
Right.
also, like, especially, well, like I can't. Okay, there's two things going on. I love your assessment of this, and then we can wrap it up. Um, is it is the reason people aren't saying anything is because they know what's going on and they know it could be lost, from a societal standpoint, from a wealth and riches standpoint, from a social status standpoint of like being that conspiracy? Is it that reason they're not saying anything, or is it because they haven't taken the time to investigate, and so it is back to premeditated ignorance? They don't want to know. Which
Cognitive
do you think it is?
dissonance.
Cognitive, yeah. What
It,
do you think
it
it
is it is the hybrid of both of them, and like I said, it's like
is? Mm,
status codependent Stockholm syndrome. And it's a culmination of several factors, but the illusion since my birth, or since I've been programmed of going to the Jesuit school and saluting the flag and doing all this stuff, you're telling me I just wasted 18 years of my life, or fill in the blank, whenever you finally get to that point, and they're telling, yeah, it was a lie.
you're telling me my whole life's a lie, yeah.
But what about this? They told me soldiers died for me. Yeah, that was a lie. They died for gold, oil, and was it drugs? But what about the election? Like I thought I was voting for the lesser of two evils. Like there was a good guy here, right? No, both of them are lying, and they're stabbing you in the back every day, and they're putting a little bit of poison in your food.
So,
So
so do you think some people have a more difficult time with that truth? Because for me, that truth is like, oh, yeah, it makes sense now because you see the pattern. But do you think some
right,
people really have a difficult time
dude, it's like my aunt.
holding?
My aunt was the one that tattletaled once I did that testimony one talking about what went on in the home. And
Really?
she's one of those people. Like I remember we went to go to my brother's retirement ceremony from the Coast Guard, and they sent me down to go to the little hospital, not the hospital, the hotel, when they had like a little bed and breakfast, grab some snacks like some Cheerios,
Hmm.
whatever, muffins and stuff like that. So I went down there, and as I go into their little room, as I'm walking up the driveway, and knock on their door, dude, there was like 15 to 16 freaking pill things all lined up on
Oh,
the
sheesh.
dresser drawer of their hotel thing, and I'm looking at I'm like,
Whoa.
so you're giving our aunt crap about the C19 elixir, but you got like, you know, I mean, seriously, you're gonna give freaking Fidel Castro a run for his money on the drug
Yeah.
industry here. And so
So
and
the hypocrisy, huh?
she's one of those like, oh, she's all panicky and stuff like that. So the minute she sees that, it's like, I have said this before in your living room that this is what went down, and now you're watching this going, yes,
Yeah.
I'm telling the world. Is that scary to you? Well, I can't live your secrecy. To live in secrecy is to condone the lie. I can't live your lie for you. I'm coming forth. I'm coming clean. And that's offensive to you because I'm speaking out on behalf of myself and the victims?
Hmm.
Yes.
So some people, yeah, yeah. So and you make a good point. I've known about people like that too. And then I'm not saying I'm perfect. I'm not have it all figured out,
No, by
but
all
that must be
means.
what it is because otherwise, why wouldn't my whole thing is I get frustrated with people just like if I'm telling you that if I'm telling you there are murderers, criminals of the highest order are in our presence, you're not going to look into it by watching this hour documentary, by watching this hour and like 15 minutes. That's why in the Great Awakening Guide, I broke it down. I said, if you watch uh, All Wars Are Bankers' Wars, The Mystery of Israel, and this is just my personal opinion, and then Everything is Rich Man's Trick, you invest say 4 total hours, maybe 5, you're golden. You at least know, and I see it all the time. That I use that all the time in comments when people say like, oh, I thought this or this everything, and I say, well, you know what I think. Everything is a rich man's trick. If you have money in this world, you can make anything you want go down, or look to be that way. And so I
Right.
tell
And
people
then
like, you don't have to
I do the
invest.
same thing with posting books. Like if you
Yes, yes, you constantly or
yeah,
your
read these
books.
three books. Like I just
Yeah,
summarized it in like Bloody Zion by Edward Hendry, Rulers of Evil by Tupper Saucy, and Curse of Canaan by Eustace Mullins. You're never going to see the world again the same way again, dude. Like
yeah,
literally, can you
so
sum it up?
simple.
Make it simple for me. Three books, and then all the rest of the stuff that you people like. Again, if you find the real source, the real deal
Mhm.
truthers, we'll fill in the blanks for all the other stuff. Or if you want to focus on an avenue of a specific person mentioned on that app, or a project, or some, dark site, that's where you narrow down. But if you have those three things, or like watch those three, you'll get the world. You will
Yeah.
understand it. So this is why, again, when people send me clips, I'm like, I usually know, have seen it before.
Yeah.
And if you like, dude, it's like a 5% that I do not know about a topic that somebody
Yeah.
sends me.
Yeah.
But they
Well,
somehow,
because you
I'm like,
didn't always
stop
want to.
sharing it with me. Start posting it on your own socials. Put some hashtags, tag some people
Well, you know
before
why
you
they're
sending it
sharing
to
it with
me.
you is because they want you to share it. They want you
Right.
to do the work. I mean, reminds me what Kevin Sorbo. He and I
I've met him.
have you really?
Yeah, I have a photo of standing next to him. I'm not too
Where'd you meet him
far.
at one of the events or?
Yeah, the Georgia event, and I also met one of the girls that got the Epstein files. I'm not too fond of her
Oh,
now.
really?
I used to really like her stuff. Then I saw her wear a little Israeli necklace with the star Remphan on there. I was like,
Was she one of the ones that had him at the
she
White
was the
House and
blonde.
got the
Yeah, I
folder
used to
or the
love her
binder?
stuff, dude.
Do you remember
But yeah,
do you remember who she, or can you say who, or do you feel comfortable
yeah,
saying?
Liz Wheeler.
Oh yeah, yeah, yeah. I think I was fond of her too until I saw, and I used to be fond of DJ. Well, I believe DJ Drano. I'm like, oh, you were a lawyer. You see the country going. I mean, I bought it. Now I'm like, oh
Uh,
man, you're sketchy. Uh, but
is there anybody that tells the truth?
what? Yeah, I mean, it's like, come
At
on.
a certain point, it's like, is anybody
Was there
telling
anyone
the truth?
not controlled opposition or a psyop or whatever?
Uh,
But it's interesting to me, like if you what it is to me is I can't imagine if someone I know said, hey, there's some super bad things going on in the world. I don't expect you to believe me, but
right,
watch this hour long. I mean super bad, like you are in danger and your family's in danger, everyone you know is in danger. Watch this hour long documentary. Just take it for what it is. I don't know. It's so wild to me. Like I can't even imagine. It's almost like someone, if you see a crime going down, people are like, eh. I don't know.
it's just
That's
like
what it
pulling
comes
out your
back to. I
phone
don't.
as opposed to actually running over and helping the person.
Yes,
It's like, I
yes.
got it on camera. Well, that's
You
good in
know,
some cases, like, cop brutality or something like that. There comes a certain point where it's like, yeah, but did you do anything to save them? Like the person that caught fire in the New York
yeah.
subway, or was it Pennsylvania, somewhere over there.
I can't
And I'm
remember.
like, yeah, there's a certain point where it's like, you know what? That's not helping the problem. You have security
No.
cameras that are going to get that. The thing is,
Yeah,
going over there to help a stop, drop, and roll scenario. Are you going to go over there with your jacket and start whacking the crap off of it? Like,
yeah.
do something.
Well, and that reminds me what I was going to tell you about Kevin Sorbo. I remember listening to him. He says this all the time. There was one interview, and he said, I get so many people in the movie industry saying, hey, thank you for speaking up for us. Thank you for doing this thing. And he's like, I appreciate that, but don't make me take all the heat. Why don't you speak up? And they always say, I could lose everything, all right? They don't want to
Yeah,
be him. They've made an example out of him. I
let
I
him be the
also
scapegoat. Yeah,
yeah, they want people to many people want other people to fight their wars. And that is again back to what Americans said. Americans have never had to dirty their hands.
yeah,
Most Americans, they've never had to get their, muck. And since we're in an information war, this isn't necessarily a traditional war. I mean, I think
right,
all wars have an element of information, but this is predominantly more information. Uh, they're like they don't need to research because like someone else doing it for me. Oh, the good guys, the white hats, the Q, whatever's doing it for me. I'm like, dude, you are
yes,
very, very trusting to believe that someone's doing it for you.
right.
I just a lot, but they've been conditioned. Americans have never had to get their hands dirty or their minds dirty, and they're
Well,
like,
and when they do get their hands dirty, they're over here saying, "Well, I did it for the good of the country and for the citizens." It's
yes,
or even the trope in movies, dude. You're gonna do it to serve your country. Serve my
yeah,
country. Yeah, it's like this little. No, you're not doing it to serve the country. You're doing it to serve the corporation, and you just happen to
yeah.
be the perfect patsy stooge to do it for us.
It's heartbreaking to watch. I mean, to a degree, and this is why it gets difficult, when you're like, oh my gosh, you're being played. It's just like I recently over the last couple of months discovered Unplug him on YouTube, and he nailed it when he said, back to what you were talking about reading. He says the reason they don't want you to read, the reason they don't want you to investigate is because if you don't read, you don't investigate, they'll run game on you all day long. And I'm like, son of a gun. And maybe to update Mark Twain's quote, it's easier to run game on a person than to convince the person that they've been gamed, you know?
Eh, yeah.
Yeah, they don't want to admit it, especially the arrogance. The pride goes for the fall thing. No one would game me. Oh boy.
Well, dude, it's like yeah, they're gonna run game on you all day long because that's part of the thing with the casino analogy. The house
Mm-hmm.
always wins, but if you don't go in the house or you don't play at any of the tables, I can't
Amen.
win.
Amen.
And if you want to
If you
deal with
don't
the
watch the
system,
news
right? If
or
like if
listen to
you're going to be
political
a card
people,
sharp, you have to understand how the systems run. If you're going to outdo the security
yes,
cameras and stuff like that.
son of a
So if
gun.
you want to do that, get your sword of the spirit, because again, be wise as serpents, gentle as doves. Yeah,
Shoot.
the my Timothy, while he is detracting and saying, you think you get the monopoly and you think you know it all. Granted, not specifically said, but implied. No, I know how to play the game though, and I gave up a lot
Mm-hmm.
because I do understand the game. I
Hey, you're a
have
student of the
bloodlines.
game.
I
Mhm.
have the talent to freaking, and I
Clearly.
give it up. So as opposed to using it for evil, I'm now using it for good. And you're telling me it's this, and I'm like, no, I'm trying to be enthusiastic because, as like yourself and a lot of us, I'm nearly burned out.
Yeah.
Have you ever
Yeah.
watched The Brave Little Toaster? I'm all those guys in that little attic room when they're freaking getting in the I don't know, they're getting transported over to someplace, and the guy was using all these appliances for basically going zombie, taking up all the oh, this is a cord, so I'll put it to this thing, I'll put it that, and they start singing
Hmm.
this whole song. I was like, it's a big movie show, and they're all freaks, dude. They're
The
all
like
freaks.
little
They're all
like
worn out.
appliance freaks, appliance
They're
zombie like
frazzled. Yeah,
hybrid. Oh, really?
they're all
Oh.
frazzled hybrids of what they formerly were, and even later
Hmm.
on when they go to the junkyard, they have all these cars that are telling their story as they're getting lifted by the metallic machine and put onto the
Oh.
cranker. They're
Uh-huh.
all talking, I was doing this, I ran the indie, so da da da, and then the other one, I did a honeymoon thing for a couple of breaking down all their life stories. But I'm laughing because as I watched this movie as a kid, I'm like, dang, this is pretty,
Yeah,
freaking
dark.
dark. But as an adult, I appreciate it because I'm going, yeah, I understand the frazzled people now because that's
Yeah.
kind of where we're at. We're burned out, we're
Yeah.
frazzled, and we used to have all this, this life thing together, quote unquote. Like we had a vision, we had a dream, and we gave up that dream to become what Luthen and Andor. He gave a nice little speech. The guy says, "So why do you do all this?" He's like, "I do it for the thousand sunrise that I will never see, so somebody else's kid can." Yeah,
Yeah.
that's kind of what we're doing. I
Yeah.
understand what I had to give up, and I'm trying to keep enthusiastic when I'm freaking burned out and I'm freaking bobbing around like an apple, not knowing where my finances are going to come next month.
Mm-hmm.
That's
Yeah.
where I'm at in the stream of time. Where are you? Well, stop with the excuses and start doing something.
Yeah.
Start doing something. Like, dude, I think we should end with this, but I I I really was sad because I did a story, and it was sad because it's the saddest part is the teacher didn't understand what I was talking about.
Mm.
I was trying to make it into a sermon. But in essence, when the Titanic was going down, you had all the string violinists and cello players, so that they started playing "Nearer, My God" to the "We're going down, but we understand death. It has no sting because we're going home, right? We're going nearer to God, even though we're going down." And what I was trying to preach, which went right over her head, is that even when you think everything's horrible, whatever, you can still have a peace of mind in the storm of life. When the ice is breaking, I was doing all this stuff. And the biggest thing that I remember when I was doing that research, dude, I came across an article, and every one of those musicians, their families were charged for the use
Oh,
of
you told me.
words.
Yes.
And I think that's one of the saddest things I've ever read. Somebody, even when the ship's going down, we were trying to give you a melodious
Yeah.
sound, a song, just to give you some hope.
Mm-hmm.
And we suffered the consequences even after our death. Sullied reputation, fill in the. This is what I find content like us.
Yeah.
You're not going to appreciate us, even when the ship's going down. But in eternity, I'm not going to care about the prices. But, what I'm trying to do is give you solace
Mm-hmm.
when the ship is sinking. And if you don't appreciate that, or you're not willing to come over and at least just listen to the music, I'm trying to contribute something for you.
Yeah. Yeah,
That's the
all you can do is
we're at.
play. That is a great
Yeah,
way to end it. That's a great story, and I remember you talking about that. Well, always good chatting with you, Brandon.
likewise.
Tell us where people can find you and what new
Yeah,
things you're working on.
yeah. Mana daily podcast, Spotify, Rumble, YouTube, and if you can, Patreon. And then I'm working on two projects. One of them is Anarchy. So I'm gonna be doing it's a Curse of the Archons. It's gonna be breaking down anarchy and all this stuff. Break basically some of the definitions that I hold by and seeing if they're biblical, and then what is it? Soldiers of Satan, breaking down uniforms, cops, and military. So
Mm,
if you're
good.
into controversial stuff, and you like breakdowns with etymology, anthropology, and biblical, hit you in the gut, but hopefully it makes you feel a little convicted, then yeah, that's what I got coming my way. What about you, Mark? What do you got for my audience?
I'm doing focusing more on shorts, mostly taking it, even though there's a lot of longer form videos and reviews, but I'm going to be focusing more on basically condensing it down, given, what could be given in a 15-20 minute video, trying to push some short content. I've started doing that on my channel at G Mark Phillips, everywhere at G Mark Phillips, just for a while, to kind of see what I'm feeling. That's kind of what I'm called to, what ratio, by the way, what ratio of longs to shorts? And I know your longs get pretty long. I mean, you have
Yeah,
hour or two, at three sometimes.
sometimes 3 or 4, man.
Yeah.
Yeah,
What's your ratio of short? Because you do your short content. That's where I view most of it on Instagram,
yeah.
still pictures, etc. How does it percentage wise work out? I mean,
Oh, you mean how many people?
like how many longs a week or
Ironically enough, the longer ones that I do get a lot more views than my shorter ones.
is that so?
And again,
That's a
I
good
think it might be a unique angle because of the content that I cover.
Yeah, you do
Um,
deep dives.
right, and people can
Yeah,
keep
good
coming
point.
back at their own pace. Like all in one place, come back at your own pace. It's a book. Pick it off the shelf. It's going to be rented, and it's in that aisle. Blah, blah, blah. That's kind of what it is. And I remember my mentor was saying, nobody's going to come over here. They all want short content, about 15 to 20 minutes.
Mm,
Yes, I understand what you're saying, and I also would love to technology wise, but it says I don't have time to do the shorts. I don't have time to do this, so I'll just throw it
mhm.
all in one place. And
So you find people do, yeah, that's good.
well, at least with my stuff, and again, I think it's it's similar to some people like the Crucible, where people are going to sit around for a freaking 4 or 5 hour debate, and I'm not kidding, 4 or 5 hours debating. Um,
Well, that's a
because
long
some
time.
people are, yeah, I want intellectual stimulation because I can't get that anywhere else. So they're
Yeah,
willing to sit there and be like, okay, or play it in the background while they're doing their job. And some people say it's great because I'll start it and half my day work is over by the end of the shift.
yeah.
So again, I think it does have its merits for certain audiences.
Okay. Yeah. I was just curious because I know you do multiple different types of content. Yeah, that's what I'm up to. So all
Cool, cool,
right,
cool.
there we go, Brandon. I appreciate it.
All right, I'll catch you on the next one and good luck on your hiatus, man.
Thank you. I appreciate it. We'll hook up again in the future.
For sure.